For realsies, I really gotta make like some kind of animated starting soon screen. Sitting on that still image for a while is just rough. Hey yo, it's been a while. Life has been eventful. I've actually been focusing on IRL a bit more, been off Twitter, so to speak. Well, not I haven't been engaging with it as much. Still on there, that's for sure. Hey, Joe Star. This is actually probably going to be one of the last reaction streams for a little while. Because my YouTube Premium's running out and I hate ads when I'm watching stuff on stream. But once I find work, that'll be back. So hopefully that's within the next couple weeks. Anyways, I got a lot of stuff to talk about. I will be joined later on by Nessie again. We're going to be going over the latest Accursed Farms update. Aside from that, I am definitely going to be having a laugh about the female custodies that were announced. Oh, Twitter's been having such a delicious meltdown. Goddamn cable. Speaking of, I can't wait for the next X-Men. Hey, Raj. Oh, I've been spending a lot of time with friends IRL. Well, yeah, Twitter melts down over like every little thing constantly. But what's flooding my timeline right now is, well, Digimon fan art and people talking about the female custodies. Oh, it's just so good. Now I'm just debating, do I want to start off with the Warhammer thing or leave that for a little later? Because I got a video, apparently there's hate for Akira Toriyama. I don't know what that's about, we're going to find out together. But I'm a big Toriyama stan. That's the Accursed Farms thing I'm doing with Nessie. Also going to be talking about Helldivers 2. I actually haven't talked about it on stream yet, and I have a fun video we're going to go over together. And we're also going to find out about... Well, I mean, it's not really one of my streams unless we talk about a pedophile at some point. We're going to have a video on that. And I also want to talk about Digimon Tamers. Just because I fucking love it. Hey Tibbs, how you doing? So I'm just curious, what do I actually want to start with? I'm probably thinking, I'm leaning towards starting with Digimon, something a little lighter. Raj, it's not a VTuber actually. And this is somebody convicted of it, so. It's a video essay by a smaller VTuber. They asked for my help with the script and they've released it, and well, I'm reacting to it. Playing Victoria 3? I don't know it. So I guess the real question is, do I want to start off talking about Digimon or Warhammer? I think I actually want to start off with Digimon. I know it tends to be more of a niche interest, but hey, it's my childhood. Go full screen already. Oh, I hit theater mode, not full screen. Okay, now just how to start off the segment. Y'all ready to be on YouTube? One of my childhood favorite anime has been Digimon for a very long time. And to me, the peak Digimon has always been Digimon Tamers, which is canonically the third season. It is a bit of a departure from the first two seasons. The first two seasons had a chronological story, and then the third season just took it in its own direction. And, well, I just have so much love for that story because it handled so many serious topics and it actually handled redemption arcs. It has one of the best redemption arcs, in my opinion, in anime. And on top of that, recently I've actually been inspired to start working on a bridge series. Currently in the scripting process or getting that ball rolling, but I will be doing more announcements about it coming up. We're definitely going to be having auditions for it, so keep your eyes out for that. But for now, we're going to be checking out a video by a Red Sage 25, like XXV. Pretty small channel, but let's see what they got to say. I don't judge people by their size. Yes, that is an intentional innuendo.
So, very out of nowhere, I ended up rewatching the entirety of Digimon Season 3,
Good
Tamers,
taste.
which, personally, I haven't revisited this show since the Jetix days. So, this was a pure nostalgia trip for me. But along the way, I found the show to be better than I ever remembered. For those who don't know, Digimon Tamers is the darker sequel to the original Digimon series, Digimon Adventure.
Yeah, like in the original series, there were like a couple of dark episodes or darker themed episodes. Specifically, coming to mind right now is an episode from season 2 where one of the main characters named Kari goes to like this dark world and a goddamn Cthulhu-esque monster appears in the background, but then that storyline just never comes back. Oh no, it gets wrapped up in the very end in like a really rushed way. But with Tamers, they spread it out throughout the 50 episodes that they had.
We follow Takato, Henry, and Rika, accompanied by their partner Digimon, as they fend off evil Digimon who seek to take over both the digital and the real world. Like most people, I like to have background noise.
You don't remember Digimon being dark? Most of the time it actually wasn't, but when you actually followed along Digimon Tamers throughout the entire thing, it had much darker plot themes along it, and I'm going to leave any spoilers for the video to talk about before I actually get into story beats. At the end of the video, if it doesn't really talk about the particular stuff, I'm betting it will, but we'll get to the rest of my thoughts later. We're not even a minute in.
Always on when I'm doing other things. Usually I'd put on a show I've already watched and kind of half tune into it, but something about having Tamers on in the background was really grabbing my attention. I ended up stopping what I was doing entirely to actually just sit and binge the show again.
Nice.
Mostly in English, but I also dipped my toes into the Japanese version a little bit because I really love the opening and ending theme songs a lot. And
from what I've heard, season 1 and 2 actually had a fair amount of changes to it between the Japanese and the English dub, whereas again, from what I've heard, it sounded like the English translations were a lot closer and like a lot of the stuff was a lot closer to the original source material. So honestly, it's worth watching in English. That's the only experience I've had with it, and I absolutely love it. I do not doubt that there is a wonderful Japanese dub out there, but it's just not the one I grew up with.
I must say, I was genuinely surprised at how well it aged. Digimon Tamers is the season that really solidified Digimon, at the time at least, as Pokemon's sometimes darker and more mature cousin. This version of the series handled a variety of more thought-provoking topics that, as a returning, much older, and mature viewer now, really got me thinking. It's constantly questioning the morality of taming and befriending these creatures and fighting alongside them, what it means for the Digimon to evolve and potentially pose a danger to the real world, bringing into light the positive and negative impacts of Digimon and human relations for both parties, and challenging the cast to grow as individuals, but most importantly, as a team. Hell, the series even touches on things such as depression, which, to be honest, I think this introduced me to the idea of such a thing in the first place.
Honestly, Tamers handled the depression, at least from what I remember. It's been a year or two since I've gone through it again, but they handled depression in a very real way, and it actually treats its viewers as, you know, people that can understand the emotion. The original writer of the series, Chiaki, I forget his last name, or the other name, Chiaki something. They are a wonderful writer, very, very. They actually get into Cthulhu-esque places, and we'll see where this video takes us.
Throughout the series, the Tamers' bond and the dynamics of their relationship with these digital monsters is brought into question a lot and tested often against their ability to grow and mature their perspective, as well as grow as people the most, though, I feel. This idea reaches across the entire cast involved with the Digimon directly. See, in Digimon Tamers, Digimon truly are a product of man, a program created by them, and even a card game created by people that the kids play at first. To the creators of them, they're nothing more than that, and it's to the point where
yeah, essentially the Digimon season 1 and 2, where the TV showed, I guess, or something in that vein, that aired in the world of Digimon Tamers, where it was man-made hobby that actually ended up evolving into living creatures. Howdy.
where individuals treat them as just code, or even less. By all means, they are just a product and very much a child's game. So when it turns out the digital world is real and so are Digimon, it brings into question how these beings should be treated, and the threat of what Digimon can potentially be is thoroughly assessed. Although we see some Digimon to be friendly and befriend humans from both past series and this one, we all know that these beings can be just as dangerous as any human, possibly even nuclear level threats if left unchecked. We see some people view them just as tools of battle at first, and in other positions of power, don't even seem to acknowledge the fact that although they were nothing but code before, things are different now, and they're fully flesh and bone to some extent, with emotions and needs of their own, more than just ones and zeros. They become capable of coherent thoughts and much, much more. Time and time again with the main
Yeah, especially with Digimon Tamers, they develop the partners as their individual characters that grow alongside the main cast, as like complements to their personality. Takato being this free spirit Digimon enthusiast, and Guillaumon being this literally born yesterday kind of character, where he was born in the first episode of the show. So we're watching through the series alongside with, or we're getting to know all of this stuff sort of on the level with Guillaumon, though more so on the level with Takato for fans that have knowledge of Digimon previously. Which is honestly why I really think Digimon Tamers is really great for being an introduction into the Digimon franchise at large. Though I can't really recommend later season or later series or parts of the franchise. I haven't really caught up with them that much. I did watch some of the Adventure Try. That stuff was pretty good. I don't think I finished it though.
cast. Takato, Henry, and Rika the most I noticed. especially early on, struggle with the idea of whether these Digimon should be controlled, similar to what we expect from other monster taming series, where that is in fact the norm. Initially, this is out of fear of what they could possibly become for some of the tamers, and the nature of their relations. Takato being afraid of Gilmon's want to be strong, and the fear that with that strength he'd lose his friend. Rika being afraid Renamon just want the user for more power in the long run, and Henry being afraid of the consequences of letting their Digimon digivolve and who could possibly be hurt in the process of these huge city-spanning fights they have sometimes. You see, in Tamers, there's this huge emphasis on all the Digimon's thirst to evolve and become much stronger. It's a natural instinct for them. They want to grow in every way, but in some cases that hunger for growth leads to them becoming more dangerous mons, with the possibility of even wreaking havoc on both the digital and material fronts. And rightfully so, the Tamers fear this at first, but we get to see them be some of the first to truly grow alongside them and trust in their partners. Fight after fight, each individual tamer learns to trust their partner Digimon, and often their goals end up aligning. This even inevitably spreads to those who before wished to eradicate the Digimon and thought of them all as just brain-dead monsters that were capable of nothing but destruction. Upon further assessment, their
Yeah, for those that aren't aware, this guy with the blonde hair, his name is Yamaki. He is the head of a program called Hypnos, I believe it was, where they're trying to keep Digimon from breaching into the real world because they recognize that Digimon are this potentially massive threat. But then they don't, at the beginning, realize, or they don't know about the connections between the Tamers and their Digimon, and how you can have Digimon be beneficial. It's not just all damages. You can figure out how to live in symbiosis with them. And throughout the series, Yamaki does come to understand that at least a little bit.
relationship and the cooperation between the two becomes crucial for both beings' survival. It becomes a matter of if they can't grow together and learn to trust each other, other people's lives will be lost in the process possibly. The growth that comes through this relationship in many aspects is extremely beneficial for both parties, whether that be for emotional growth or maturing as individuals and obtaining better ideologies or even perspectives. I think the best example of the relationship evolving between the two is Takato and Gilmon though. See, at some point the hunger for the means to grow faster and get stronger consumes the both of them, causing Gilmon to digivolve into exactly what they feared before, a truly uncontrollable monster. Through the intense bond between the two though, Takato
Unironically, the way this scene played out with Guillaumon's dark digivolution to Mega, it was actually fairly scary in the context. This friendly, lovable little guy turns into literally a kaiju, an uncontrollable kaiju.
was able to bring Gilmon back to his senses. These events inevitably pushed them all to discover what it truly means to bond with their partner and grow and mature stronger together as one in unity. See, the bond between partner and Digimon is more literal here, and they feed off of each other's raw emotions at times and even feel each other's pain. Through this instinct bond based on a certain level of trust and understanding, both can become stronger together and evolve further beyond through Digivolution. And I think this is the first time Digimon really did this sort of thing, but the bond between them literally allows Tamer and Digimon to fully become one through this thing they call Biomerge Digivolutions. Biomerge evolutions to me feel like an attempt in the series to destroy the notion that Digimon and Tamer are similar in design to Pokemon and Trainer. Through Biomerge and even being quote-unquote separate, they truly operate as one in this series. It pushes them to stride further beyond initial limits and allows them to truly grow and actually mature together. It even solidifies the idea that the two are two sides of the same coin, based off of the fact that they can even do such a thing as fuse together in the first place. Through deep introspection,
That was another huge thing that, well, probably not consciously drew me to it initially, but in season 1 and 2, you had the Digi Destined with their essentially predetermined partners. But with Digimon Tamers, it the Digivice only came about when a Digimon and a human actually decided to become partners in a genuine interest. With Takato, him being the exception, he magically gets a Digivice and then scans his notebook and creates a brand new Digimon, which is Guiomon. But for the other tamers, like Henry, he had his bond with Terriermon, and then he got his blue card. The blue card pulled Terriermon into the real world to protect him from fighting. And I think it was some kind of weird digital fever dream sort of thing with Rika, but Renamon wanted the strongest tamer, and Rika won card game tournaments, so that tracks, right? But in the end, it's a lot of this story is building the relationship between the tamer and Digimon, which lead into the culmination that is Biomerge Digivolution, where the tamer and Digimon are so in sync and inseparable at that point.
Both gain the ability to potentially be so much more than what they actually appear. Tamers gives us the commanding side that usually comes with these things like Pokemon for something I personally find a lot more genuine than capturing and making these monsters battle for you just over and over. It's a true partnership between the two parties because both have to agree to be by each other's side willingly and be on the same page. It's not just owner and animal. The relationship that comes from this level of trust with a separate species is one that allows them both to persevere and have the means to protect both worlds and even eventually grow together and become more capable beings. That's just one thing I found interesting though. Back to that other thing I mentioned earlier.
Oh,
a real big boy topic.
A lot.
Depression. I wasn't joking when I said Digimon Tamers was actually my first introduction to these kind of feelings. You'll have to let me know if some other kid anime you watched in early 2000s to 2004 handled this sort of thing and did it exceptionally well, but Tamers was the first for me.
To my knowledge, from what I remember, Tamers did it the best, and I can only really think of Tamers from like my childhood series that actually touched on these issues of mental health. It was different. Though at that time I was also a teenager and I had a little more understanding about it, but yeah, the other stuff that was on at the time, at least that I remember watching, it wasn't about dealing with issues like that. It was just about going into the fantasy and never... I mean, I guess I didn't dive as deep into other stuff as I did with Digimon.
And it was kind of staggering. See, in the series, there's this girl named Jerry, and from Jerry's first appearance, and even throughout the entire show, something seems a little off about her. I think the what and the whys only really registered as an adult for me personally though. But early on, Jerry is actually shown to constantly be talking through a hand sock puppet like thing at times. He was clearly her friend, but also seemingly a coping mechanism for something initially left unsaid. One can only assume it's for mental health reasons, and it brings a sort of comfort to her. But really, as a kid, you don't think too much of it, because she really just comes off as the silly little girl and is really cheerful actually. But that's just ours and the other tamer's perception. See, upon getting her wish of finding a partner Digimon like the rest of her friends, she just as quickly ends up losing them, as not long after finding one, he's actually killed by another Digimon. Yes, like...
God, that made me cry so fucking much. And just thinking about the scene is bringing tears to my eyes again. But in the end, this story wraps it up so goddamn well.
Fully murdered in cold blood by another Digimon they know who, guess what? He was tired of being weak and he so desperately wanted to grow that he accepted a deal for power in exchange for the Tamers and their Digimon's lives. It's really messed up, honestly. This act immediately sends Jerry spiraling into.
You glazed over it just a little bit, but for those that aren't aware, that Beelzemon there, which was the one doing all the winning, he was actually a character that had been around since like the earliest bits of the episodes. He was initially Impmon, that he was essentially that annoying friend that nobody liked but hung out with anyways. And his story is rejecting his tamers that he had. He was scared of being hurt by them because he's seen them fight over their toys and destroy their toys. He didn't want that, so he rejected humans and tamers outright, but still chose to hang around with the main crew that we know. And through all this time and his rejection of his tamers, he never gets the chance to digivolve. He never goes to champion or to ultimate. It's not until the party finds their way into the digital world, and then Impmon finds his own way into the digital world, only to come across one of essentially almost gods of the digital world. Like there's 4 sovereign Digimon, which are like really, really strong, and Impmon, it makes a deal with the one that hates humans, so we'll give you mega form if you kill those people you've been hanging out with. And Impmon was like, deal. And then he fucking does it. And it ends up destroying him. He goes through such a massive character arc. I don't think just talking about it off the top of my head can do it justice, but unironically, one of my most loved characters in Digimon is Impmon and his story.
Digimon's lives. It's really messed up, honestly. This act immediately sends Jerry spiraling into a depressive episode due to the trauma of seeing such a thing happen rightfully. Upon these events happening, though, we get a closer look at Jerry's troubled past. See, this isn't Jerry's first run-in with the death of a loved one, and both these events have left her deeply traumatized.
That was her mother.
Even that it's her destiny to be left alone. This had already stood out to me when I was younger, but now, having dealt with death and depression myself, it hits extra hard on the heartstrings. This depressive episode she has really reminded me a lot of the one Asuka Langley and even some of the other characters went through in Evangelion upon rewatch. The final arc of Tamers, and honestly, possibly the entire series, shares a lot of DNA with Ava and a couple of other series, with how characters have to deal with their inner conflicts and the grim realities that we face in real life. I think too this is why Tamers is regarded as one of the darker seasons, as Jerry's conflict actually kickstarts and encapsulates a large chunk of the hidden portion of the show, even resulting in psychological manipulation by the big bad of the series, and borderline horror imagery being presented to display just how horrifying of a threat we're really dealing with. The writers of the show...
Yeah, the villain of this, like the big bad, is not some big super strong Digimon. The big bad is essentially an eraser program that's meant to gobble up excess data so it doesn't get too big. Digimon evolved over time into the fleshy beings we know them today, and so did what we came to know as the Demon Reaper, which its entire existence was to just feed. It was just to consume all the Digimon kind of thing. And then when it gets to the real world, it doesn't just stop at Digimon. I believe the reason it was hanging on to Jerry was because Jerry was the D Reaper's connection to the real world, which let it access the real world and cause the rampage that it went on.
handled it very soundly though. As I mentioned before, the final arc of the show actually is triggered by a lot of what's going on with Jerry, as the main villain of the show, the D-Reaper, actually takes advantage of her situation and uses her sadness to strengthen and feel itself, harkening back to the bond between Tamer and Digimon, slightly, but now twisted and defiled. Through the battle with the D-Reaper, Jerry with...
I actually didn't think of it that way. That makes so much goddamn sense, yeah. God, I love Tamers.
The moral support of the Tamers, Calumon, and even the Digimon that killed our partner, Bilzamon, confronts the reality of something so final as death, as well as her perceived loneliness head on, and comes to the conclusion that destiny is not set in stone, and if she doesn't want to be alone, she doesn't have to be. Life does in fact go on, and she can find meaning in it. And this lesson echoes not just through her, but the entirety of the Digimon Tamers cast. It all kind of comes together nicely too, because this whole arc really encapsulates the idea of growth echoed throughout the entirety of the series. Jerry gets to get the closure she deserves, and gets the chance to look past her past trauma, and finally grow along with her peers. And rewatching this portion of the show after years of my own growth really changed my perception on life and dealing with all these different sort of emotions and hardships we encounter as humans growing up. See, you are never truly alone, and through our connections with people, we get through almost anything together and become better people in the long run. It's just a matter of trusting and accepting those around you who truly care about you and trusting the process. The bad times aren't forever, and you're in fact in control of your life. That's just what I got out of revisiting Digimon Tamers though. There's honestly even more about the series that I feel is worth discussing, but we can leave that to the comments below.
Oh my god, just seeing that ending scene, oh my god, I'm tearing up. That hits so fucking hard. Oh, this was such a nice nostalgia trip video for me. And yeah, if you didn't get it, where was it? Right here, where there's Beelzemon looking in,
blowing his head on, and comes to the conclusion that
he's reaching out to Jerry to try and save her because he's come to realize the true ramifications of what he's done. He harkens back to using Leomon's Fist of the Beast King to make that hole, to be able to reach out to her. He can never bring back Leomon, but he can give Jerry another chance. Now where were we? Like, there.
Out of revisiting Digimon Tamers though. There's honestly even more about the series that I feel is worth discussing, but we can leave that to the comments below. I want to hear everyone else's thoughts on this series though. Did Digimon Tamers have the same impact on you as it did to me? How do you feel about it next to the other shows like Pokemon, or even compared to its neighboring seasons of Digimon? Also,
so at least in my opinion, comparing it to Pokemon, they definitely have their own merits. I think Digimon just hits, like Digimon Tamers personally just hits so well because it has an actual, it's got its smaller cast that it focuses on, and it gives them time to develop, and then it doesn't continue on essentially endlessly, though I know Ash has now moved on and somebody else has taken up the mantle of protagonist in Pokemon anime. And then in regards to the other series, or the other seasons of Digimon, I would say season 1 and 2 I still have a lot of nostalgic love for. Season 4 is actually where I started to fall off, and then I never really watched season 5 or later, catching the occasional movie kind of thing. Like I did watch Digimon X Evolution, and then I've caught the Try. But yeah, the depths that Digimon Tamers actually goes into, and the lighthearted moments that balance it out, and the story overall, the characters, there is not a thing I don't like about Digimon Tamers.
So, what other anime would you like to hear my thoughts on? I've been retroactively going back and watching oldies and would love to rediscover or even find new ones that I missed growing up that we all can discuss together. Let me know in the comments below. And most importantly, if you enjoyed hearing me talk about this series, let me know by leaving a like and subscribing for more content.
I
going
definitely
forward.
subscribe.
Until next time, y'all.
Oh, that was really good. Now, in case any of you are interested in checking out their channel for their other video essays, do so. That was actually really enjoyable. Fuck, Digimon is such a nostalgia trip for me. Oh man. For those of you that actually enjoyed Digimon or think about it or know about it, what's your favorite? What would you have as your Digimon partner if you could have one? For me, I would have Angelomon for reasons. Okay, that segment wrapped up nicely. I mean, if you see my hentai, you can probably guess that I like Angelomon. Was about to mention Angela Anaconda. Oh my god, that's so frustrating. Like, that bit wasn't just on the VHS, it was in theaters. Oh my god. Like, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the original movies, especially Children's War Game. That was the best of them. But apparently there was like an extra 20 minutes of the movie that got cut off, or more than that. We all know Lady Devimon is where it's at. Fun fact, I've tried to make a Mastamon. It didn't work out. Yeah, I know. It's part of the final edit of it. It's so fucking frustrating. Like it or not, Angelomon is canon. Okay, so Nessie, you wanted to talk about Ubisoft? Excuse me. Okay, yeah. Uh, how much longer do you think you need? Because I'm betting it would be a while before I get through another video of what I'm going through. I guess Warhammer wouldn't be as long of a segment. 10 minutes-ish? Yeah, I think I can go through Warhammer then. Or talk about the Warhammer stuff. Okay, so I logged on to Twitter for such a goddamn treat these last little bit. My timeline is nothing but Digimon fan art and people making fun of chuds being mad that there are female custodies confirmed in Warhammer 40k. This was confirmed in the newest Adeptus Custodes Codex, and it comes out shortly after the White Dwarf newsletter or something. It's something about like the Warhammer community, talking about awesome stuff. And what are we talking about today? Oh, we are talking about, I don't know if you've heard of them. Warhammer painters may have. Cerberus XT, pretty great painter, and their Gate Crushers faction has been featured in this newsletter. Oh, people were so mad about that on Twitter. It was funny. It was so funny, especially on the back of what was it? Or not really on the back, but like 2.5 years ago, Games Workshop put out that statement about the Imperium is run by hate. Warhammer is not. Like, people trying to gatekeep minorities out of it, they will not be missed if they leave. And well, there is a latest exodus coming out from all these gatekeepers mostly because this is circulating and now they've actually heard of it, but a custodian, Talades Tarovalia, nailed it, Cash, is a custodes with she, her pronouns. The horror. And a lot of people are just getting real mad about how are you retconning this? It's like, bro, where is the lore in 40K that says women can't be custodians or part of the custodes? And I'm not talking about the Sisters of Silence. I've heard people complain about that. I don't know which news source this screen comes from, but it's official. There are women custodes confirmed in the new Codex Adeptus Custodes. Oh my god. It's actually making my girlfriend want to start playing custodes. Because, I mean, they look pretty fucking cool. Oh, nice. Even name generators. It's just another step of that one fucking rogue intern who has now apparently not only kept that statement up from 2.5 years ago, they've allowed these gate crushers in the newsletter. They've added female custodes. Oh, they mad. So, one other thing, I saw this person getting dunked on. Oh no, I actually saw this tweet retweeted, because, I mean, it's getting picked the fuck up. But they're just making a thing. Oh wow, from April 13th. Oh wait, no, that was yesterday. Yeah, they're talking about the new custodes and orcs coming out. Why did you make female custodes? Warhammer official. Since the first 10,000 were created, there have always been female custodians. And then some of these chuds are arguing like, well, why didn't we hear about them in the stories? I don't know, bitch. There's 10,000 of them. What did we hear about? 10? Seriously, I don't know where they're coming from where it doesn't make sense to have female custodes. Like, what does it matter, really, if it's, you know, if they include female custodes? Anyways, another tweet caught my eye. For those curious, the only reason female custodians didn't exist until now. Hashtag Warhammer community. Now, a Reddit post from apparently 5 years ago from an Aaron Dembski Bowden. Some of us had this discussion behind the scenes since, lore-wise, there was no reason why it wouldn't be possible. It came down to a former IP overlord saying, quote, no, because the minis are finished and they're all male. And we all know how regularly Games Workshop updates their models and armies. So it's nice that we're finally getting more custodians. Now, some of you might be wondering, who the hell is this Aaron Dembski Bowden? And what right does he have say? What say does he have? What importance? Well, have you ever heard of the Black Library? I'm not talking about the actual thing from 40K. I'm talking about the website where you can buy official Warhammer books. And oh, look at this. I recognize that name. Only a few books, right? Right? This guy definitely doesn't know about the lore of Warhammer, right? 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 Anyways, people are so mad about this. It's making me laugh so hard. It's been such a treat. Oh my god. Now I kind of want to make my paint my Black Templars more. Just cuz like I am getting more enthusiastic about Warhammer. Oh, Games Workshop pulling out the W. It, to be fair, it's not they don't always pull out the W's. I do have some issues with them, but lately it's been so good. I've been more than happy to endorse Games Workshop because I'm liking the stuff they're putting out. They're not being cunts. Well, I mean, they're being cunts to the right people. Because, hey, at the end of the day, they're a company. They want to make as much money as possible. And how do you make as much money as possible? By marketing yourself to the most people possible. And what's a bigger market share than including men and women? Because we're just generalizing here, not getting into the nitty gritty of every different thing. Oh my god. That Cerberus, I love his painting so much. And he's also real funny on Twitter. Like, he is great about dunking on those chuds. Okay, so that didn't quite take me 10 minutes, but I mean, hey, 2K view video right there. I can almost say that with certainty because whenever I talk about Warhammer, I get a bunch of views. Not from the streams itself, but from the videos later. Okay, I guess we're just gonna hang out a little bit till Nessie's ready, and then we can do that. Um, do the whole trying to stop developer. Almost ready? Already. Not a big deal. Then we're going to be talking about how Ubisoft is being a cunt and how it's like kind of setting precedent for other companies to be cunts, and we don't want them to be able to have that power. Oh yeah. I might also go over a quartering video. That would be fun, right, chat? You know, the quartering? The guy that pees his own basement and shits himself in Walmart? I will substantiate that when we get there. Yeah, apparently that guy is mad at Pokemon vowing to eradicate toxic gamers. The quarter pounder. Yeah, that's why his wife goes out to get pizza. Oh. The quivering. Oh yeah, I need to wrangle my writers. Because I really want that Digimon Abridged series to come out. How long is a Pippo video? I think that's a half hour. I don't know if I want to go over that. Yeah, that's a half hour. That may be something for a future stream, but not this one. Alrighty, I'm more or less ready to go right now too. Got the vid up.
Hi.
Hey. The video started auto playing when I put it into what? Into what's it called? Theater mode. Cause for some reason I gotta go theater mode and then full screen. Cause I'm too lazy to hit F in keyboard. Okay, I'm gonna give you a call then, Nessie. I'm gonna give you a call. Oh yeah, I should move my VTuber over. Heyo. I think you're muted.
Is this better? Mm-hmm.
Hey, I can hear you now.
How is everything?
Overall, pretty good. How about you?
I'm okay.
There we go. Hi. Where are they? No, not that one. There. Now I gotta do a filter. Too much similarity. That'll do. Boop. Okay, we're ready to go. Okay, so we're gonna be talking about the Ubisoft stuff with the cruise again.
Yeah, there's a lot of updates since then, since we last covered this. I don't know, a lot of people have left touched on to this campaign.
Alright, I gotta share screen.
Yeah.
It would help with a co-react.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed Nitro. Hopefully my computer can
Yeah.
handle it. Should be fine.
Yeah.
Is it coming through?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, perfect. Is there any
Any what?
I just realized the screen changed on me. So it was hiding your VTuber. Anyways, is there any preamble you want to do before we actually get into it?
Well, the last time we covered this, there were it was like the preliminary plans video that he made, and he said that and yeah, back then he said like there's gonna be there's gonna be a campaign on April after the crew gets shut down, and like fast forward to here, and like I think you should. I'd also love you to see the updates on Canada and such, because long story short, you can do a lot more than I can
Oh,
than
that's
where I
true.
live.
Yeah,
And
we're gonna have to see.
yeah, showed this to the leader of my dance club as well before.
Oh yeah. I guess without further ado, we'll just jump right on into it. Oh, have the group PNG. There we go. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Ross, and I enjoy video games.
Hi, Ross.
Or a lot of them. I also enjoy owning things. You know, like things in my hand or my immediate vicinity that I use frequently. When I walk down the street, I like how people don't usually run up to me and try to take the clothes off my back, because it's generally understood by society that those are mine and belong to me. But see, just by me saying those things, we already have a problem. Yeah, you can probably see where this is going. The video game industry has a lot of problems. Like, a lot of problems. I think regulators have no idea, actually. But there's one problem in particular I've been hating for decades, and it's getting worse and worse. And that is destroying video games so that no one can ever play them again. And I don't mean your brother sticking a disc in the microwave so that your copy is destroyed. I mean everyone's. There's a really specific way this happens. Just as a quick refresher, for most of gaming history, this hasn't been much of an issue. Most games contain the code that interfaces with the hardware and run the game, and that's the whole story. Now for online multiplayer games, it's a little different, where a lot of the older ones will let players host the server that runs the game, then other people will connect to it, or sometimes give you the software to make that server a standalone thing and connect to that. But over time, more and more companies decided, hey, instead of letting the player host the game, what if we did it instead? Well, there are pros and cons to that, but that can be a valid approach. In theory. But here's the problem. The games industry has a horrible, horrible track record of maintaining its own games. There was a large study conducted last year that showed only 13% of published video games are still available by the publisher commercially. So what happens when the publisher takes over the responsibility of running the game? Well, it's usually pretty good while they support the game. Then when they stop, it's a complete nightmare and has been responsible for destroying more video games than any other practice. That's a big shift, because the industry is trying to get users to go from a model where they get to keep their game, regardless of when support ends, to one where the game dies forever. I'm not a fan. For companies that do this, the number of games that survive in any form, forget being available commercially, is a lot worse than 13%. I did an informal investigation on it a few years ago and found it was closer to 3%. I think that number may have gotten even lower since I did that. From my perspective, this has felt like a slow-moving coup to take away ownership from more and more people over time. So video game publishers are making billions selling you a game as a good, not telling you how long it will last, purposefully killing it later so you're left with nothing, but then they get to keep your money. Now don't confuse this with rentals. Rentals are sold as a service and tell you exactly how long they last. A customer who rents something is informed. Video game publishers don't want that.
God, I
because
miss
they know if they put
renting
on the
games.
box exactly how long the game will last, then that will hurt sales a lot. So it's important to withhold that information from the customer, because customers are used to video games lasting forever, more or less. You could have bought games from the 70s that still work today. You could have bought games from the 90s with online multiplayer that connect to the internet that still work today.
Yeah.
Even if the companies that made them no longer exist. But a lot of publishers like to place modern video games that are designed to die, but they won't tell you when, right alongside ones that last forever, so they can try to cash in on customer confusion. Because the average person believes they are buying something. Now, I personally hate this practice because art has innate value to me. And while it's debatable if video games are art, they undeniably contain art. So seeing games destroyed to me is the same as if someone were to walk into an art museum and start torching the paintings. And it's insult to injury that companies that do this face no penalties. Nor is there a good reason for them doing it. I won't get into the details here, and you may hear excuses as to why companies have to destroy your games,
Hey, Hero.
even though they largely didn't used to do that, even for online multiplayer.
Yeah, I hear you.
But what I found is that the people saying that tend to either be uninformed or else incredibly unimaginative and can only see things one way.
Okay, we're like 5 minutes into this, and I haven't really said much of anything, mostly because I don't have a whole lot to add to this. And, well, it's pretty important that people just hear about it.
Yeah.
I guess I'll save my thoughts for, like, the end. Because, like, honestly, I've nothing to really add to this.
This affects me because look at what I'm using. This relies on a central server.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, that's something
One day
that I want to get into, too, but lacking the model.
This could one day cease to exist.
Yeah, and we'd have to try and hope something else
Yeah.
pops up, or hope somebody else can figure something else. God, I wish I
Yeah.
actually stuck around college long
This
enough
is
to
wh-
learn Unity.
Which is why I want this to succeed.
Yeah, it's pretty important to be able to, keep the stuff you paid for.
Yeah,
Especially when it's
especially
digital,
with
it
the
doesn't.
creator. Yeah, especially with the creator economy.
Oh yeah,
Since
absolutely.
now people can buy things in VR chat.
When we order the pancakes, they're going to bring the maple syrup. Maple syrup is supposed to be on the table before the pancakes.
Of course, when they bring the maple syrup after the pancakes, it'll definitely be too late.
How is that going to be too late, huh, Brett?
Yeah, talking with people who defend this practice can feel a lot like that.
Yeah,
I'm reminded of when Microsoft was sued by the Department of Justice for bundling Internet Explorer with Windows, and Microsoft claimed it was impossible to separate it from Windows 98, even though it wasn't even with Windows 95 when it launched. And through the power of hindsight, they actually did remove it from Windows years later. So it was possible earlier, it's possible in the future, but it's impossible right now because the company has spent a lot of time trying to make it difficult. That is such a good analogy for what is happening with games. You have no idea. Anyway, no matter how you look at it, this is such an obvious assault on consumer rights. And in any other industry, a company destroying what they sold you would be illegal. If only there was something we could do about this. Well, as it so happens, we have the best opportunity ever to take action on this. A few months ago, the company Ubisoft announced it was shutting down a game of this nature called The Crew. Now, The Crew, I think, is a flawed but remarkable game, but none of that matters here. What matters is it had at least 12 million players, so this affects a lot of people. And Ubisoft is headquartered in France, and France has some of the strongest consumer laws in the world. See, this isn't really about The Crew or even Ubisoft. It's about trying to find a weak link in the industry so governments can examine this practice to stop publishers from destroying our games. Outside of the United States, this practice is very hazy legally. Many governments don't even have laws regarding this. I'm not kidding, more on that later. If we can find even one major country to penalize this practice, that might fix everything. Because the thing about letting you keep your game is it's not that
Gotta set
expensive for companies to
precedent.
do it, especially if it's a known requirement from the beginning. Then it's almost negligible. So if a company knows they have to let you keep your game in one country, they may as well make it global policy because then they've already done the work. It really could take just one victory to end this. So even if you have no interest in The Crew, if you just want to keep your games, keep watching, there's more. Hearing about this shutdown has caused me to go on a research odyssey to see if I could find any possible way to get governments to examine the legality of destroying your games. I have been waiting for an opportunity like this. This problem has been going on for decades, but it usually only affects a small minority of players that are too dispersed to do much. Most have moved on when a game is killed, and the industry has been counting on that lethargy. So an event like this that's big enough to do something is like the planets aligning. We have to take
and I've
action
played
on
more
it.
than a half.
Now, I do not think I'm the
handful of
ideal
those
person to
games.
do this. I'm not a legal expert. I have limited reach. Honestly, everything about what I've been doing has been an amateur effort. I don't even want to be doing this. But if you care about this issue, I'm what you're stuck with, because nobody else has stepped up.
Thank you.
And I
by
guess
the
there
way.
is one thing that makes me a good candidate for this, and that at least with me,
Yeah.
you're getting maximum hustle. I have decades worth of resentment on this issue. You know when a dog is eating and somebody yanks away its food bowl, even nice dogs will get angry or even attack you? That's how I feel about the industry on this. Since I started this campaign, I've spent hundreds of hours on it, talked to multiple lawyers, worked with over 100 volunteers, sent hundreds and hundreds of emails trying to chase down every single lead I can find. I have been relentless on this. I've felt it too. In the game trailer for Yes, Your Grace, the king is hearing so many requests from his subjects that at one point he just keels over from it all. Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. And after months of research, yes, I have found ways we can do something. Not just long shots either, but really
Nice.
viable routes. I have found what I think are all the agencies worldwide best equipped to take action on this issue.
Can't
I've
wait
also
till we
found
get to
dead
Canada.
ends. A lot of dead ends. In fact, I found so many that if I had known earlier what I know now, I could have saved myself at least a month's worth of work. Like I said, this is an amateur effort, so I'm trying to make up for that with even more hustle. And because I'm treating this like it's my only shot, because it probably is, I'm not stopping at the crew. Remember, the crew is just a means to an end, which is to stop companies from destroying your games. So rather than just getting the government to interpret the law, I figure why not go to the source while we're at it? So in addition to the consumer action, we're also pursuing government petitions. Now hold on, I know what some of you are thinking. These are not normal petitions, where you get a bunch of people to sign to show that people care and hope companies do the right thing. Come on guys, give me more credit than that. No, these are
Okay.
government initiatives, where if we pass a certain threshold, the government has to respond. It's the law. And for some of them are almost guaranteed to be debated. Yeah, we'll see, but this is how a lot of laws get made. So what's in these petitions? Well, it varies for every country since they all have different rules, but they all share the same fundamentals. I tried to design the fairest proposals I could that still solve the problem. Yet remember that, naysayers, I'm trying to solve the problem. But I'm also trying to keep the scope as narrow as possible. I am not trying to reform the games industry. I am just trying to stop companies from destroying games that they've sold to you. That's it. So, with that in mind, while the game is being supported, any game, absolutely nothing would happen. Companies could do whatever they wanted. We're going for a light touch. It's only once support ends that requirements would kick in. The first is any game sold, or licensed for those of you who want to be pedantic, will be required to be left in a functional state when support ends. This does not mean a 100% perfect state, but it means a hell of a lot better than completely inoperable. It would also require no connection to the publisher or affiliated parties in order for it to continue functioning. So it would need to be patched to either be offline or have private hosting only. It's the only way. Anything less and the game dies. And yes, this would include DRM that needs to connect to the internet. And because I'm being forced to go to all this trouble, I really want to end this. So this would also apply to games with microtransactions. Except we didn't say microtransactions since these were in plain English. So this would cover free-to-play games. Because if you've been sold something like a virtual horse, but then the publisher destroys the game, well, now you can't access your horse.
Nudge.
I've been told undisturbed possession is a term for what I'm talking about here. And finally, these rules cannot be superseded by end-user license agreements, since that's how companies have been getting away with highway robbery in the first place, especially in the US. There's no point in having rights if you have to sign them away just to play a game. I'm sure a few of you right now are scoffing at this proposal, but just remember Internet Explorer, guys. It was impossible. And that's it pretty much. Now, one thing we left off the table, but it's kind of an open secret we'd be willing to compromise on, or at least I would be if a company doesn't fix the game, but they give you all the information, tools, software, and so on so that a programmer could be reasonably expected to get it working again.
So make it
Yeah,
open
that's
source.
an acceptable substitute. Though the resentment some others had helping on this was strong, and they didn't trust companies not to abuse a provision like that.
Frankly, what would the issue be if like we're cutting support and then they just here's the source data, do what you want, it's our license.
They
that
aren't
kind of-
really talking about open sourcing here. They're talking about just giving just the necessary code, just so a programmer can like decrypt it and get the game working that way. So so they don't have to do the extra work they usually have to do.
Oh, okay. Because I mean, people crack stuff all the time. It's just if it doesn't require an internet connection, it's way easier to crack.
Because like the thing is that the thing is that they require a central server and it's insanely hard to like get a separate emulator working without like the information that the company can provide, that the company should be able to provide.
As long as it's not left to completely die and rot.
Yeah.
And they could be right, so we left it out of the proposals. We also left out this applying to all software and restricted it just to video games. Now don't get me wrong, I personally think all commercial software should have these provisions also, But this is
Like
already
Flash.
such an uphill battle that expanding the scope would invite many more enemies and weaken our odds. Remember, I am single issue. The point is, even if you don't own the crew, you'll still be able to do something if you live in one of the countries where these petitions were launched. This is a multi-pronged attack. I have prongs for everyone. Well, no, but a lot of people. It's complicated. Remember a while back when there were so many versions of Watch Dogs for sale that somebody made a spreadsheet on how to buy the game? It's not that bad, but it does have a lot of variables.
What the
What I
fuck?
found is that what people can do varies on where they live and whether they own the crew or not. But even then, it can still be confusing. So I've seen it as a priority to make this as easy as possible for everyone. To that end, I've been working with volunteers to launch a website to do just that. StopKillingGames.com. I hope you can remember that name. It has the 2 G's there back to back. That might throw some people off. It's a multilingual website that can easily steer you exactly where you need to go to have maximum impact. Some people can do multiple things, so I even tried to prioritize your options a little bit. In fact, you can even just stop watching and go here if you want. There's nothing else you have to know that's not on the site. We have blazed a trail for you to hit back against the industry. All you have to do is follow it. We've done all the hard parts for you. See, people can complain about the games
Chat,
industry,
call to
but the
action.
reality is all internet
StopKillingGames.com.
comments are meaningless. None of your comments matter
I'm doing
unless
my
a government
part.
official is reading them. That's what this is. In fact, if you've gotten lost by anything I've said, here's all you need to remember. File complaints if you can, sign petitions if you can, get others to do 1 and 2. And you can do that at StopKillingGames.com. That's it. That's everything. You can tune everything else out like some sort of Zen master if you know those 3 things. But maybe you think I'm exaggerating what we can do. Well, why don't you judge for yourself? Since no one else has stepped up on this issue, I'm assuming Command to play general on this attack. So, you want to see my battle plans? I'll show you
Yes.
my battle plans.
Yay.
This could take a little while.
I hope they're
Okay,
big.
Future Ross here. Some bad news. Like I said, this is an amateur effort, so even though some of these petitions were submitted weeks ago, at the time of this recording, we're still waiting on all of them to open up for signing. So here I am making a hype video to go send everybody to the right place, and they're still not ready yet. They haven't been rejected, we're just waiting on governments. So this is kind of a
Yay,
nightmare for you.
bureaucracy.
Oh well, we're moving forward anyway. We do
Yeah.
have links to where they're going to show up though, so that's something. Okay, battle plans. Now before we get into regions, the first option is worldwide, and it's eligible for literally anyone who owned the crew. Yeah, anyone. Aren't you glad I cleared up those dead ends? Although it does have a critical flaw that can't be avoided. See, the option for all owners of the game is to contact the DGCCRF, France's National Consumer Protection Agency. You go through this website here. They accept complaints worldwide, but there is a catch. The catch is they want everyone to contact Ubisoft first. So that means everyone is going to have to contact
Ah.
Ubisoft support, tell them to fix the game. Then, when Ubisoft refuses, or 2 weeks have passed, then you can contact France. This is a major setback because gamers are not known for their long attention spans. So asking people to wait up to 2 weeks before
Oh,
taking a
boy.
second step may ruin us. I may be asking the impossible here. I don't know. This right here could be exactly why the games industry has been able to get away with this crap for so
Update on
long.
this.
Because no one has the attention span for this second step.
pause the video,
Some of
update.
you can do it.
Pardon?
Since this video was released, like he gave this guy gave this CurseCon's guy, they gave an update. They said like it's safe to wait 1 week instead of 2
Oh,
in order
okay.
to through the
That's a little better. It's definitely a little better.
I just want to let you know, and there's another update after the video's over.
Oh, okie dokie.
And I'm gonna link to you.
It though. I know it. Some of you. But let's look at the rest of the campaign because I am not stopping there. God no. Though remember, everything I'm about to show you can be done in addition to that worldwide step. So there's no one or the other here. And with that, let's start with the outskirts. Australia. Okay, Australia has a
Australia.
two-pronged attack. First, if you own the crew, you can file complaints to the ACCC, and they may do something. There was news not long ago about the ACCC going after the games industry. For God's sake, we need to find a way to piggyback onto this. Don't go after them and ignore customer games being destroyed. Don't do that to me, Australia. But besides that, Australia is also the first of our government petitions. And anyone in Australia can sign these, not just owners of the crew. And honestly, you guys need to hurry up, because once it's approved, we only have a 4-week window. Except, of course, it's not ready yet, even though it's been submitted. They give us a
Oh,
small
shit.
window, but then don't tell us when it starts. Oh my God. Now, the upside is we only need 50 Australians to sign, but that's nothing. If we show up with 50, they may not take it seriously. I'd rather we showed up with 50,000. It's like a wise game ad once said, there's no kill like overkill. This is the most time-sensitive element of the entire operation. Go sign it as soon as you can. Future Ross again. I just got word from the Australian government that the petition looks fine, but they can't open it for signing until April 22nd or maybe May 15th. They don't know. So they can't even meet the 4-week deadline they're holding us to. What the hell, Australia?
What?
Moving on over, next we have Brazil. Now,
Sign it
Brazil is the
anyways.
wild card in all of this. All the feedback I received said their consumer protection agency would probably be ineffective, but having a class action lawsuit very likely would work. Apparently the argument of we sold you a product but we can take it back at any time doesn't fly with a lot of judges down there. Now at the time of this video, the situation was still in limbo, so this one may or may not happen. If it does happen, however, the cost of a class action lawsuit could be affordable if we have a fundraiser. I was told a 4-figure sum estimate. I currently do not have plans for a fundraiser, but if this looks viable, yeah, we may do one later. Don't worry, 90% of the battle plans still work even if no one spends a dime. Brazil is just part of the attack on all fronts mentality I've been taking. Moving on up is the United States. Okay, and moving on is Canada. Now, the thing about Canada is the federal agencies can't do much on this issue, so we have to look at the provinces. Okay, the United States. Listen, guys, I want to keep it real with you. The US is the suicide mission of this operation. Unlike a lot of other countries, the laws are not gray on this issue. And at this point in time, it's almost hopeless. Almost. Owners of the crew can still contact the FTC, and I've been given coach points by a lawyer we can tell them to increase our odds they'll look into this. I am still not expecting a victory here. It's more like I just want to be sure our options are truly dead in the United States before I write it off. I don't want to pronounce the patient dead too quickly. You know how that goes. And hey, don't forget, if you own the crew, you still have that option to contact France directly. In fact, I prefer you do that before you contact the FTC, since it has way better odds. Now, if you're an American and don't own the crew, which is probably the majority of my audience, then I have nothing for you. I'm sorry, guys, I really tried. I just couldn't find anything. Game ownership really is as bad as the naysayers say in the United States. The best I can do is tell you to get the attention of someone else who does qualify to do something. Remember the 3 points. If you're an American and don't own the game, you're number 3. All right, back up to Canada.
I'm
and
number
ding,
3
ding,
and I'm
ding.
doing my part.
I guess I'm sort of doing my part too. Also, I can't read that name from here. Yokohane. They reminded me. You haven't introduced yourself to those who don't know you yet. I forgot to ask you to do that, Nessie. Because there's always somebody new with every video. Did you mute yourself?
Oh, sorry. Hey, I'm Nessie. Yeah, I'm here to cover the Stop Killing Games movement by A Curse Farms here.
Yeah,
aka my
Nessie's been the one that's
YouTube
been
channel of all time. Yeah.
Nessie's been the one that's making me aware of it, and well, I'm bringing her on to talk with it.
Yeah, I'm doing my part as number 3 that he just said.
And now we get to find out what my part is. Yay!
Yeah.
Canada has our second petition to government. So if you are a citizen or
Nice.
resident, head on over and sign it. We only need 500 for government to respond. But
Really?
again, let's try to get a lot more than that, eh? Now, for owners of
Oh,
the
yeah,
crew,
eh?
we didn't check every last one, but the provincial consumer protection agencies look pretty dire. I cannot endorse going through them at this time. It's almost certainly going to be better if you just sign the petition. Crossing the ocean again, we have the UK.
Okay, so it's just a
and
petition.
it's a similar story as Canada. The consumer protection options look hopeless. But hey, we have a government petition. If we get 10,000 signatures, government will respond. And if we get 100,000, then it's considered for debate in Parliament. Now those sound like big numbers because they are, but we have 6 months to get them. So I think if I keep
Oh,
campaigning, we can
shit.
do this. And we move inland to the main attack here. First, let's stop by Germany. Germany is one of the few EU countries where their national consumer protection is powerful enough to act on this, despite Ubisoft being a French company. So this is one of the few exceptions where you should contact a local agency first, then contact France, like everyone else. Now, I learned late in the process, Germany and France have the option to petition their governments also. However, their thresholds are kind of high, and I can't hope to cross them without making serious inroads with foreign YouTubers or other media sources first. So if we get enough support and publicity,
Understandable.
sure, we can add German and French petitions to the list. But not today. And that brings us to the heart of this, France. This is where our most powerful attacks are. French owners of the crew are the Space Marines of this operation. You have more
Hoorah.
options than anyone.
Or
The more you can
hooray,
do,
or
the
whatever
better.
they say.
In fact, most people's best option is probably your weakest. Besides, the DGCCRF will also be sending registered mail to Ubisoft as part of summoning a government mediator to take legal action on the customer's behalf. It's almost like having your own prosecutor. Amazing. And just
That's
to hit every last
awesome.
stop, French citizens will be contacting the UFC Que Choisir, a powerful consumer advocacy group with a great record of defending gamer rights. And we actually juiced the whole process in France a little earlier prior to April, but that was the special operations phase of things. That part's over now, so don't worry about it. And for the rest of the European Union, this is where most of our dead ends were. Since first I thought people should contact their consumer protection agencies. By and large, no. They tend to only look at national businesses, and Ubisoft is in France. So then the documentation says to contact the European Consumer Center. And no, I don't advise that either. We did do that for a while, but the answers were all over the place. Some said Ubisoft could do whatever they wanted because of the license agreement. Others said Ubisoft was liable to provide the service forever, which is kind of insane. I mean, that's going farther than even I want. But most of them had no idea how to handle this. One clerk said they had never heard of someone make this kind of complaint before. Another one of them said it is unclear if these actions from the company are legally permitted. There is no clear legal regulation for this. So that's from the European Union itself, guys. There's no consistency. Nobody knows what the hell is going on. There's apparently no laws on this. What year is this? I mean, we're still getting robbed. It's amazing game companies have been able to go on for so long existing between the cracks in the law like this, like cockroaches.
I mean,
We need to shine light on it.
to be fair, how long did it take for people to actually start doing stuff about like loot boxes? And that was only a couple countries in the EU, if I recall correctly.
Loot boxes were a lot more recent of a practice than killing games relying on a central server. To be fair,
That is true. It is a more recent thing, and this is a perfect screen to pause it on. Because, like, dude hates that games are getting killed. You can see it in his eyes.
yeah.
Don't leave him in a room alone with Ubisoft.
Yeah.
God, I hope we can stop them.
And
Yeah,
on
me
that
too.
note, the final lane of attack is the Moonshot, which is the European Citizens Initiative. It's like the other petitions, but way bigger. This one is ambitious. It might actually be delusional for me to attempt this. I don't know yet. But we would need 1 million signatures across the entire European Union for this one. And there are some caveats, so in reality, more than 1 million. However, we will have 1 year to get these. I sure as hell can't get this from my audience alone, but that's a lot of time. If I campaign hard enough, maybe we can get those. And if that wasn't enough, this is also the weakest part of the campaign. Because while we're ready to go, it takes months for the EU to approve your proposal before signing. So that means there's going to be months delay between now and when this goes public. That is the kiss of death. That means we'll lose most of the momentum from April and I'll have to come out and campaign for this again months from now. This one may be a bridge too far, I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, this is me attacking on all fronts.
Fair.
And that's the campaign. We have up to 11 fronts of attack, with maybe 13, though in reality 3 of these are pretty iffy. But the rest are relatively solid. This is happening, guys. This strategy is my absolute best effort as an amateur. Now, I'm biased when I say this,
Better effort
but if you
than
care
mine.
about not losing your games in the future, this is the best chance you're ever going to get to do something about it. As far as I know, no one has ever challenged the legality of game destruction, and certainly no one's attempted it on this scale. And I can't say by how much, but this is going to get bigger too. In fact, the next phase after this is to essentially spam myself on the internet to try to get more attention on this. I'll do interviews, appearances, just try to get people to make Twitter posts, whatever. I don't really want to do that, but if that's what it takes to end this, I'll do it. I have a giant list of people I plan to contact, though you don't have to wait. If you have
I
an audience
wonder-
and want me to talk about this, you can save me the trouble and contact me directly. Or you can
Chat, should I? I think I wanna.
Yes, please. I want to too. I've emailed him before, actually, on occasion.
Yeah, I'll shoot him. I'll definitely shoot him an email. See if he's got the time to talk for an hour. Because
Can you involve me in that too, if that's okay?
I do kind of want to do a one-on-one, but we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Because like I've done interviews before, but this would be a little different than the typical interviews I've
Yeah.
done. Hey, Kudere fanboy.
Hey, Kudere. Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be great to hear either way.
Yeah.
skip me entirely. I don't have to be involved in this. Just send people to stopkillinggames.com. It'll take care of the rest. I mean, it's a joke I even have to do any of this for us to try not to get robbed. But that's gaming for you. One thing to keep
It's capitalism for us, but yeah, it's such a shame that we even have to go to, like, individuals have to go to this, like.
keep in mind is the trajectory for gaming is so bad, we have absolutely nothing to lose. I mean, how does gaming get worse than publishers destroying your games? We've already had a glimpse of the future, too.
They make worse games.
It's history now, but when Microsoft unveiled the original Xbox One, their plans showed us what game companies have in store for us.
Yeah,
A surveillance device necessary to use the system that collects biometric data off you, needing to connect to the company every 24 hours or else you're locked out of your system, and when they eventually end support, your entire game collection becomes unplayable. Welcome to the future. Now, soon afterwards, they realized they came in too hot and had to walk some of that back, but the industry has been taking the boiling frog approach since.
Sony's clapback was so good about that. But we all know that Sony was wanting to do that too.
Yeah.
They just weren't dumb enough to try it.
This is where we're already headed if we don't do anything on this. Now, I can't say if this campaign will be successful or not. But what I can say is if people put in the minimum effort, then we are going to get answers on this and close the book on this one way or the other. Again, if we pass the petitions, governments have to respond and own that answer. If consumer agencies get enough complaints, they probably will too. We won't have any more of this no clear regulation crap. I can almost promise you that much. Plus, if we win, can you imagine how good it will feel in the future knowing all your games are safe and you only have to think about whether you like the game or not? That's my vision of gaming.
Yeah, like, how many of us have a massive fucking library of Steam games that we've never played, that we've spent money on, and then what if one day they're just gone? You no longer can play them. It's at least Steam has been pretty consistent, but who knows what will happen when Steam inevitably shuts down. Hey Aiden, how you doing?
Yeah. Hi Aiden. There's also some more insight. I like most of the games on in my arcade cabinet you can play those indefinitely without a central server, except one.
Oh wow.
I don't know if you heard this one, Goddess of Victory Nikkei.
No, I don't think I actually have.
It's like a shooter game with anime girls and such, but I don't play it like most people play it. I play it like with a like on like one from the arcades and such. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I remember the glory days of being able to socialize in person and play video games together. Go down to an arcade, show off your skills.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, games like House of the Dead Time Crisis. That Nikkei is one of those games, but it relies on a central server, even though it's mostly single player.
That's so frustrating. I hate the shift to service as a game.
Yeah, and once it takes microtransactions, and once people once the server shut down, they lose the access to all of that. I thankfully haven't bought any of the microtransactions, but yeah.
I think it's Butt Jiggling is the Anime Girl Shoots game. That does sound up my alley.
That's the one. Aiden, you're correct.
For the future, it's a little different from the industries. And if we lose, we'll at least get told straight to our faces that in a democracy, you can never own video games that you paid for, no matter how many people want that to happen. I guess this will be a civics lesson then. Finally, I'd like to end this by saying thank you to Ubisoft. You're a French company and you pulled this crap. And you did it to one of your flagship titles with millions of players. If this had been Electronic Arts or Blizzard Activision, I would have had nearly the options that I do. And a month later, you made a PR statement of saying people should get comfortable not owning their games. And then go on to lie in that same interview about online games being safe as you're killing the crew. I mean, what are you gonna do next? Threaten a judge? Here I've been thinking I have no way to fight this.
Good lord, I would love to see that. Ubisoft threatening a judge.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them at that point. Especially after this recent news that I'm gonna we're gonna show the audience.
Yeah. This is why physical copies are better than digital. Well, sometimes it's not because of the CD rotting, but still better than buying digital copies. Yeah.
It's kind of irrelevant when talking about games relying on central servers because that physical copy will be useless.
Yeah, and like
no matter what.
one of my favorite games that I actually like to go back to is essentially sort of lost media. It's Rock Band 3 for the Xbox 360. I can't access any new songs. I can't re-download it. If it's gone, it's a complete virtual copy, but it's still on my 360. I can still load it up and play it. Oh, but it's moving on.
Like same with like my
Here's new,
N64 games
great.
I used to have.
They are new. Sorry about that, Nessie.
You're fine.
And you go and create one of the best openings ever for me. Shame on me if I don't act on that. I mean, it's not perfect, but this is a solid 8.5, 9 out of 10 opportunity here. If we can't win on this, we'll never win. There's no doubt in my mind. You set yourself up for us, so we'll swing as hard as we can and see what happens. All right, that's it. Go to stopkillinggames.com.
There's after credits.
Don't forget about the European Citizens Initiative. It's coming in a few months.
Okay. I DM'd you something on Twitter.
I am also checking.
I mean, on Discord. Actually, it's a Twitter link.
Also pulling up stopkillinggames.com. Take action here. Canada. I'm just seeing if I have to put in any legal name or anything.
Petition's not up yet.
Oh, it's not up yet?
Yeah, he said so. Unless something changed.
The current status is our campaign has successfully submitted a proposal to the Canadian government to prohibit the video game publishers from leaving games in an inoperable state for all customers once they end support. It is still being approved to be open to signing, but it is unknown how long it'll take. So I'm gonna have to keep my eye on this. I do not own the crew, so I can't do anything on that. And step 3, I'm doing my best. Okay, so you sent me a Discord message.
Yeah.
Oh, I put out a tweet.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you. Yeah, it makes Ubisoft makes it look even worse.
So Mario 3D Collection, you can't even play the digital version anymore? What the hell?
Yeah, that sucks.
Okay, so here is the tweet. Actually, I should follow this dude. I'm terrible at remembering to follow people. StopKillingGames.com has been making far more news than I anticipated, but this might be the first article that's because of something new Ubisoft is doing, not us. I encourage anyone interested in the law in Europe, especially, to analyze this behavior. And they link a PC Gamer article.
Yeah.
Stripping people's licenses for the crew weeks after it's shutting down, nearly squandering hopes of fan servers, and acting as a stark reminder of how volatile digital ownership is. Right, I actually heard about that. I saw one of my friends, Len Airhead, post that even he doesn't have access to the crew anymore on his Ubisoft thing because they owned it.
No.
It's all grayed out. Can't re-download it, can't play it, nothing.
Can you ask Len to DM me a screenshot of that? Because
Oh, give me.
I believe them 100%. I'm just
No, they tweeted it out.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, I just got to be I can't show it on stream just in case. What if not safe for work stuff? but they do have like a not safe for work
Yeah.
channel separately. You just never know. Oh, right
There
here.
it is. There it is.
Oh yeah, I'm sharing my screen with you.
Mm.
Boop. Not available. They really pulled the game out of everyone's Ubisoft library. I still have it installed, but fucking hell, I guess I have something to completely mess with. So yeah,
Can you please retweet this and like it? I want more people to know.
I'll spread the word some.
Thanks.
Though I don't get as much engagement as I would like on my my
Yeah,
own
I'm number
tweets and stuff.
3. That's why I'm asking.
But yeah, spreading the word.
Mm.
Ubisoft. Is there
Yeah.
anything else we want to add to this? I don't really know.
Something that I think is very encouraging is like there's a lot of popular YouTubers that are covering this.
Oh,
That I
that's
didn't
good.
think that would like Mudahar, if you heard of them, Philip DeFranco,
I've heard of them. Watched a video or two.
Bellier News, Asmongold,
Well, it's good that there's a lot of.
Linus Tech Tips, like
Oh,
a
Linus
lot
too.
Yeah, on their Wan Show podcast thingy. But yeah,
Still, it's good that people are spreading the word.
yeah. Even Young A too, I think, in one video covering Ubisoft.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Yang A. He's got good videos.
Yeah.
YouTube just
Plus, he's
has
a
a
voice
habit. Yeah.
Plus, he's a good voice actor too.
Oh, phenomenal voice actor. I've
Yeah.
watched a bunch of his videos. It's been like, but YouTube has a habit of deciding to shift what it's recommending me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess to wrap this all up, games as service are bad. StopKillingGames.com.
StopKillingGames.com. There's the site. Do what you can.
Big stretchy. Do you want to say or shout yourself out again for the end of the video kind of thing?
Hey, I'm Nessie. I do stuff. And I dance for a club.
Yeah, you don't really do a whole lot of
Discord.gg
linking directly.
Discord.gg says hellbound. That's my club.
Oh,
Shouting it
nice.
out now.
Okay, have a good night and thanks for coming on.
You too. Thanks for having me. Mwah.
Take care.
Good night, everyone. You too. Mwah.
Boop. Yeah, so StopKillingGames.com. Okay, now I got some other stuff that I want to get into. That segment is done. Do I want to talk about Helldivers? Do I want to talk about Toriyama? Do I want to talk about Pokemon going woke? Or do I want to talk about, well, somebody convicted for not great things? You vote for Pokemon? That's going to be a quartering video, FYI. Play perfect, it's not playing. Unless this isn't a democracy. No, I run my stuff like a democracy.
Pokemon
Shut up, Jeremy. You're not allowed to talk yet. Yeah, with today's stream, I don't really know what the biggest, most eye-catchy segment is going to be in terms of people showing up for chat. So I'm just kind of leaving it to the people who are currently in here, what they want to listen to. Don't know who the coordinating is. I'm so sorry about this then. So there's a guy on the internet. He's been pretty big for a while, but he's kind of fallen off some, and we're going to listen to him talk about, well, Pokemon going woke. I mean, the title of the video is Pokemon vows to eradicate toxic gamers, hires 250,000 a year woke DEI maniac. Pokemon TCG gets woke. Oh boy, this is going to be an interesting one. We're going to be taking morality notes from a guy who pisses in his basement and shits in Walmart, and I will be establishing that later. Without further ado, now you may talk, Jeremy.
Pokemon apparently going woke,
Again.
offering a $200,000 a year salary to inject for somebody to inject wokeness into a beloved IP. By the way, this is not new. This is something that's been going on with beloved Japanese IPs for quite some time. We've seen, Final Fantasy, a beloved franchise, turn to wokeness. We've turned so many things.
Final Fantasy 14 is like one of the biggest MMOs. What? Okay.
Up to $267,000 a year they're going to be paying somebody to help destroy their brand. And by the way, this has been going on for quite some time. This new, since everyone's
okay, he's got
now,
the same sources as me. Pokemon Company is going to pay someone 250. That's not 250,000, 200,000 yearly to push them into wokeness. Another Japanese IP ignoring their original audience in favor of, quote, modern audience. So what? Job title, Director, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Social Responsibility. How horrible. Okay, so it looks like the full range is 178,000 to 267,000. Things to expect. An employee first culture. I don't believe that in any job, just to be fair. He has Kirby behind him, a non-binary character in Japan. He himself has gone woke. I actually didn't know Kirby was non-binary based.
which is great. Keep that up. By the way, if you enjoy my coverage, make sure you leave a like on the video. If you haven't yet, please subscribe or follow wherever you're watching.
And if you don't like the content, don't bother disliking. You can go down to the three dots here and no, wait, that wasn't it. Where the hell was it? There was somewhere where you can just say not interested and not actually see it. But if you, as far as I'm aware, if you give a dislike, you're giving an engagement. If you leave a hate comment, you're giving engagement to a video. I going off of feels here, but some of my biggest videos are my most disliked and most pushed out. So it pissing off right-wingers. It gets the clicks, it seems. Also, Pokemon has catered to the Western audience since the 90s. 100%. Yep, there was a lot of localization, I think, which was not great. Mostly because why the fuck would you call those jelly donuts? Yeah, literally jelly donuts. Those delicious hamburgers, that's clearly what they actually were. Anyways, what does this guy got to say?
I'm so close to 200,000 on Rumble. I hope if you're watching there that you're subscribed, or that you will subscribe. And we're going to get into this job listing right after a super quick word from this video sponsor, Private Internet Access. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, Private.
Fuck you. Oh my god, okay.
$1 yearly to push them into wokeness, another Japanese IP ignoring the original audience in favor of the, quote, modern audience. So
The fuck do you think localization means?
here's the Pokemon Company looking for a director of diversity, equity, and inclusion and social responsibility. The Pokemon Company International, the subsidiary of the Pokemon Company in Japan, manages a property outside of Asia and is responsible for brand management, licensing, marketing, Pokemon trading card game, the animated TV series, home entertainment, the official Pokemon website, and more.
I will say, as much as I dislike him, I do appreciate that he's actually reading out the stuff so I don't have to read it out. We'll see if he actually skips stuff and see if that's important.
So this is, of course, they're not doing this in Japan. They're doing it everywhere else. Isn't that curious?
Huh. It's almost like they wanted to do well overseas. They know it lands with the Japanese audience, so when they want to localize it for other places, you make it appeal to that audience. Oh my god. Genius.
Isn't that curious? They're not pushing this crap in Asia.
Are you just asking questions?
But I digress. Job title: Director of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Social Media, Social Responsibility. The Director of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Social Responsibility facilitates and promotes the Pokemon Company International's global culture of innovation, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and belonging. The role will partner.
The way he says diversity, you can tell he's literally just mad that they're trying to include minority representation in some aspects. Oh my god, thank god Pokemon has never shown a character, a person of color. Thank god it's always been just white presenting Japanese people like it was intended to the Japanese audience. Oh man, like the designs of Pokemon were meant to actually explicitly not entirely evoke the thoughts of Japan. They wanted to ship it out overseas in the initial conception. Like there's a lot of people that care way more about Pokemon than I do, and they have video essays. I highly recommend checking them out. I don't have one off the top of my head, but I guarantee you look into it. Yes, different countries and cultures value and allow different things. What is he saying this is like a gotcha? Because to him, it is a gotcha.
With the DEISR team and build diversity, equity, inclusion, and social responsibility. That's what DEISR means. To influence employee engagement, talent acquisition, talent management, charitable community engagement, and marketplace opportunities across our global team to engage, retain talent, and foster relationships in local and global communities. The role will ensure that the core elements of the Pokemon Company's culture are well defined and ever present to employees. An employee-first culture, cash-based incentives, a salary, the full range of salaries, $178,000 to $267,000 a year. That's what they're going to pay somebody to destroy their company.
Destroy their company by trying to market to as broad an audience as possible. Oh my god, thank god Pokemon never tried to appeal to as broad an audience as possible. Otherwise, it would never have become a global phenomenon twice. Because A, it became a global phenomenon when it first came out, and it resurfaced in the mainstream again with thank you, Niantic, Pokemon Go. Y'all remember when that came out and like everybody was playing it or talking about it? But hey, it's bad to appeal to as many people as possible. How terrible. Oh, I recognize who he's getting his info from. This dude. He's an ex Blizzard employee, I believe. That's a shame. Like, that dude worked on like StarCraft, Diablo 2, and older World of Warcraft, I think. I wasn't aware that Go boosted things quite that much. Yeah, that's Grums. Yeah, Pokemon Go was fucking massive. I think, what was it, 2016-ish, where it launched, and like everybody I knew was playing it, or like talking shit about the people who played it, or like, I don't really know anything about this Pokemon Go, but people are talking about it. It was a goddamn hit.
You know, by the way, the company that controls Pokemon Go, which I'm not sure if Pokemon Go is still a popular game or not.
It's still played.
They've got diversity, equity, inclusion departments too. They've tweeted about their support for BLM, against police, all this kind of crap. By the way, also, the story continues. I mean, all of this stuff, I'm so happy that people are out there looking around, because I guess it's been going on for some time. This is just from a few days ago. Lawyer involved with Pokemon Halo series slams anti-woke gamers, says that it was his job to purge them. It was his job to purge anti-woke gamers.
Again, this guy's not saying what actually he means by woke, but I don't know if you guys can get the vibe, but everything he's saying to me is everything I'm hearing is he doesn't want minorities in games at all. He just wants his straight white male protagonist and white people. They're anti-police brutality and systemic oppression. Oh no. I know, right? Like, how could they be for such awesome things?
Amid a larger discussion about DEI's influence in the video game industry, a person who has worked as a lawyer and producer within the industry for years ranted on Wednesday about his job was to purge certain people. Fans of the beloved franchises across genres of entertainment have voiced frustration when they think movie studios and writers have adopted diverse identity politics or, quote, go woke.
Yeah, like when they go woke, like fucking Baldur's Gate 3, they go woke and they go broke every fucking Game of the Year award. Go Baldur's Gate 3. I didn't even finish it, but I love it.
I'm going to place the blame on DEI. Consulting companies like Sweet Baby Inc. Often some companies that often work with movie series or video game in development and help write or influence their stories.
Okay, they here help influence their stories, and what they think is they're forcing their woke agenda onto this stuff to make it conform to standards, when reality it's like, hey, if we made this character, if we designed this character like this, would anybody have any negative response to that? Saying you're anti-DEI equals N-word? Yeah, basically, as far as I'm aware, the people that are against the DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, they just want to say the N-word. They're mad that they can't. That's honestly the vibe I get from everybody that I've seen that's been very hardcore anti-DEI.
In the video game industry, one consultant agency made headlines for recently being at the center of allegedly pushing this kind of crap. Sweet Baby Inc. describes themselves as an inclusion.
Yeah, they're pushing this crap by being an optional advisor that doesn't actually have any creative control over the fucking project, because that's not how advisors work. But I mean, that's how they have to work in this guy's mindset for this stuff to make sense to him, apparently. People like that were also mad that The Last of Us 2 again. Yeah. Oh no, the Sweet Baby controversy. Yeah, they mad about that one.
Focused narrative and consultation company working toward diversifying and enriching the video games industry. On the video game digital distribution service Steam, over 250,000 gamers followed a list called Sweet Baby Inc. Detected. By the way, it's over 300,000. Dan McGowan, the former chief.
Okay, he's just going to brush over that. That list of Sweet Baby Inc. Detected is made explicitly so that it's super easy for them to review bomb anything they perceive as a woke game, because they want to artificially crush anything that they don't like, because that's all the power they have in their entire lives.
Legal officer for Pokemon, as well as a producer of the film The Pokemon Detective Pikachu. In addition to having several, served general counsel and producer for Bungie, the company behind the Halo games, wrote a long, now deleted thread about how his job in the industry was to purge a-holes from gaming.
As much as I appreciate the sentiment of like getting rid of all those toxic players, I don't think we actually really can, but we can make fun of them.
He responded to the consumer backlash against diversity, equity, and inclusion consultancy companies like Sweet Baby Inc., calling anti-woke gamers human garbage.
Based.
Human garbage. Think about that. When you're paying, $6 a pack for Pokemon cards, you're paying for, the Pokemon movies, you're paying for the Pokemon video game. These are the people who employ at the very top. These are the people whom they pay the most money. These are the people.
No, I guarantee you the advisors from third-party companies are not paid the most. The people who get the most money are the shareholders from the big companies. And the big companies get those big returns because their games do well for appealing to the broadest audience. But, I mean, this guy's never going to realize that. Or actually, no, I don't think he's ever going to realize that. I don't think he's being deliberately obtuse. I think he is showing how intelligent he actually is. Also, Sweet Baby is only one consulting firm. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of them, but the online right just seems to really focus on Sweet Baby Inc. This is next level delusional. We must study him. Yeah. Well, to be fair, last I heard, he records all his segments drunk, and I'm not really going to hold that against him because, like, I get really, really high before my streams, and, well, I feel like I can still make a more cohesive point than he can. Yeah, I'm certain there are others. Oh, 100%. It's just we don't know their names because, Culture War focuses on one. They did go after the Black Girl Gamer Group for like a week. Wait, the Black Girl Gamer Group? I don't think I actually heard about that one. I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to what Quarter Pounder's up to, because I prefer Wendy's. I just loosely know of him. I've watched more than enough people dunk on him in other places to know what he's about. So now it's my turn to dunk on him.
Whom they deem the most valuable. McGowan wrote 20 years in games, 17 as an executive, so he's out of touch. I am well situated to say that.
Jeremy, you're not in touch with the average person. Leave your basement, please. That is not a just random dig. He literally streams from his basement.
These people blame one consultancy for everything that they don't like, are again demonstrating that they know nothing about the subject they purport to be discussing. They are sexist and racist.
Yep.
He retweeted a thread from Kotaku senior editor.
Wait. You're not going to argue against that? You're just going to keep going? Okay.
Alyssa Mercanti, who wrote about Sweet Baby in controversy, she appeared to claim that people who followed the Sweet Baby Inc. detected were engaged in a harassment campaign, which they weren't. The only name for it, in fact, is a advocacy campaign, just like they have, right? We want.
What are you advocating? You're like the people who followed the Sweet Baby Inc. detected list were engaging in it to explicitly review bomb and cause financial harm to the things they didn't like, purely because they were quote unquote woke, or at least influenced by the wokeism. So he's gonna not defend that part.
Want anybody who supports the Sweet Baby Undetected or anybody who supports this kind of stuff, we just want people to know where their money's going. I think that's incredibly, fair and balanced. I mean, isn't that what the left does?
Well, I'll definitely show where this guy's fans' money is going. We're going to get to that. That'll be fun. It's completely unrelated to this. I just think it's important knowledge for when listening to this guy about him being some kind of moral arbiter.
Under the social media username, trans kids are not a threat, leave them alone, McGowan argued that they are upset with DEI messaging in games, are loathed by the industry, stating that it's his job to get rid of them. Quote, and when it occurs to them that the reason nobody made games for them was because nobody wanted those kinds of games, he wrote, nobody wants your money because nobody wants you in the environment.
This is true. This is very, very true. I don't know a lot of people who want to hang out with people who act like fucking quartering here.
Take it from someone most of whose job was figuring out ways to get rid of you. He continued, trust and safety departments exist to get a-holes out of gaming environment. You end up creating them a get rid of a-holes because adult humans don't want to spend their leisure time with a-holes. You're a gamer gator? F off, you GD child.
Did they censor goddamn really? Also, I'm not surprised this dude is downplaying Gamergate, where channels with like hundreds of thousands to millions of subs, I believe, were directly mocking and consistently attacking like a couple hundred sub channels, like very small fish in the grand scheme of things, purely because they didn't like the leftism, the wokeism, before woke was even in the mainstream terms. Also, I like how this guy's just reading it in like a dramatic reading voice, but not actually challenging any of the positions he's got an issue with. He's just fear-mongering over that's his response to this. It's pretty funny.
This dude, it's his job to get rid of human garbage, according to him, for the Pokemon Company, right? The Pokemon Company is hiring somebody and paying them over $250,000 to inject more politics into their game.
The politics of minorities existing. Just so we're clear.
I mean, are you kidding me?
No. Pay them more.
Are you kidding me with this? And, by the way, Niantic...
He didn't even finish reading that article? I guess it was too painful for him to keep going. He was taking too much psychic damage. He's only got, like, half a brain cell left, and it's drunk.
Which is another Pokemon subsidiary. So there's no spot where these tentacles don't reach, right? There's no spot in general.
You can't escape the woke.
Where these people aren't infecting it, and now we're rooting them out, and I think it's incredibly powerful.
Wait, what's their issue? Oh, that they have less of a waist? Tentacles? Yeah, that. I mean, I do like my tentacles. Why was this a necessary change? Why did you do this to her? I used to love Pokemon Go. I swear to God, I didn't even notice. And I play Pokemon Go more than this guy. I guarantee you I play more Pokemon Go than this guy. I have a 4,000 CP Mewtwo.
It's like the meme in Starship Troopers. Like, it's afraid. It is afraid because there are millions.
Oh my God, this guy's quoting Starship Troopers of all things? Yeah, this just reminds me that it's just making me think that he has no idea what the fuck he's ever talking about. He's just speaking out of emotion. He mad. All they did was change her animation and a few assets. Yeah, it looks like the hair got changed a little bit. I don't know which is the before or after. I'm guessing this is after. And the only real difference I can see is the hips aren't off to the side, so it doesn't have as accentuated of a waist. So her cleavage is a little lower in the newer one. I guess the poster is a hip guy. I mean, okay, before we really start deep diving into what's all different, I will say I have seen what naked women look like in real life, and they don't tend to just constantly stick up. They go down a little bit. There's some gravity there. That really helps the jiggle, in my opinion.
Tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars poured into this industry every year. The wokeness industry, by the way. And
okay, the wokeness industry.
They're afraid of that money going away. You can see Mark Kern. Grums here is always a good follow if you're not following GRUMMZ, former lead developer on WoW. Good dude. I've had him on the show a few times. Tell him I said hi. You see this. I don't get why this is a necessary change. Why did you do this to her? I used to love Pokemon Go. Grums, why is it always the jawline? Why do they make her shaped like a man?
Weren't there multiple faces you could pick from? Also, the head is tilted differently, you moron. Like, if you turn this head down a little bit, you'd still see the same jawline. It's just, you don't have that outline right there to really separate the head from the neck.
Because that's on purpose, right? You're no longer allowed to make pretty fictional characters because it makes the game devs jealous that they don't look as good. I mean...
Okay, so to counter that, Bayonetta. Sure, there was a bit of... some people were upset about Bayonetta having less clothing and she does more of her attacks, and it was, albeit fairly sexual. These days, whenever you hear about Bayonetta, what do you hear about? You don't hear about, oh, it's a shit game. People say, no, it's a fucking awesome game, and the sexiness is just a part of it. Oh, hey, a slur. I'm not surprised to see that on here.
You know, they dumpified her. I mean, this stuff inside the Pokemon industry, inside of video games, inside of, for example, Sweet Baby Inc., you see...
Dang, what if all this hysteria and the only reason the proportions are different is because different angle? Yeah, literally, it's a different pose and different camera angle, and they're mad about it because they don't know what women look like.
Is Pokemon going woke? Pokemon Go changes female trainer to remove hips, man up jaw, remove lipstick, hiring DEI, Niantic's push for diversity, BLM, ex-Pokemon lawyer purging gamers for years. Keep seeing this stuff. Keep talking about it. Keep sharing videos that are talking about it. And if you enjoyed my coverage of it, and you enjoy...
Oh my god, yeah. Keep fucking coping. Keep seething. Progressivism is winning. Progressivism is winning. So, remember when I said that he pisses in his basement and shits himself in Walmart? Now I'm going to substantiate that. So, here's a 5-minute clip. This is the first part.
Never know.
He is really drunk here, by the way.
Maybe I'm going to pee in my trash can down here. I don't know. My wife went out for pizza without me, and I'm angry about it.
Because she didn't want the quarter
I'm gonna
pounder.
win this round, and I'm going to pee. If I don't win this round, I'm going to pee in my own basement.
He's so serious and so mad.
What do we think about that? I don't have a bathroom down here. Oh, we made it.
He doesn't have a bathroom down there, just to drain.
I was ready to pee my pants. I'm ready to, I don't have a toilet down here. All I have is a drain in the floor.
Oh, anybody that plays World of Warcraft or has an attachment to it, you might be upset to know that this is one of the original server, like, I can't remember exactly, one of the original World of Warcraft servers, and it's in his hands. Pretty disappointing. Could say you eat your hat like a normal person. True.
I gotta pee so bad. 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 I'll never survive this
Like,
round.
he literally starts a game
so
having to
bad.
pee while drunk. God, I can
Oh,
just
I'm almost about to
imagine
pee my
his
pants. I
chat
gotta pee
spamming
so
him with
bad.
hydrate.
I gotta pee so bad. I want to lose so I can pee, but I don't want to lose. I have to pee so bad. I have to pee so bad.
It is a lot of this of him squirming, so I am going to speed it up some.
Don't you dare talk about water.
Here we go.
Come on! I have to pee so bad. You guys don't even know. The pee. I don't even know what to say. Don't talk about water. Don't talk about water.
I'll keep talking about water. This is content.
Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. I made the final round. Somebody owes me 10 subs. Somebody owes me 10 subs. I made it the final round.
Nice heavy rain.
I have to be so bad, though.
About to get all R. Kelly up in here. Jesus Christ.
How angry my bladder is. You guys don't know. It's going to explode. My bladder's going to blow.
Oh, you can just see his chat
been eliminated either.
goading him like that.
Get up! Get up! No!
And here we have it. Can you guys hear? I can't even hear it. Yeah, this guy's moral arbiter of why woke is bad.
I've literally never lost that round.
Sure.
I've never lost that round.
I believe everything you say.
I've never lost that round.
I believe it.
But I'm ready. I'm ready now. Oh my god.
And then he's getting back into it. I don't know how much of that is more funny stuff from him, but hey, let's there was another thing I said that he did, and well, we got a minute clip, so content warning, if you don't like hearing about poo, don't watch for the next minute. So without further ado, let's just listen to what he said.
I've resided myself to shitting my pants in a Walmart at this point. I'm thinking, okay, so my wife's gonna have to find me like some sweatpants or something. I'm going to shit my pants. It's happening. And at that moment, a little came out, started running down my leg.
Why?
And
Admit
I'd
to
like,
this.
oh my god, you know what? I'd rather than like kneel and accept my fate, I'm fucking going for it. So I hit the back wall. I hit the back wall. Yeah. I hit the back wall where all the TVs are. I'm on the home stretch. With each step, a little more is coming out, and it's running down my leg now to where it's like at my sock.
Good
I'm
Lord.
covered in shit, and I'm running like clenched butt, and I get into the bathroom.
Were you leaving a trail? Were you leaving a brand
Yeah, there was a
trail?
little bit. There was a little bit on the ground when I was walking back. Yeah.
Amazing. Just remember, he's like,
I've resided my.
shut up. We just heard you. Oh my god. Remember, he's the one that's he's the one that you should listen to when it comes to like all things moral. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter if it doesn't really matter if companies are getting advisors that are trying to add more diversity, equity, inclusion. It's not a bad thing to want to appeal to as broad an audience as possible. But hey, to some kind of people, or to certain types of people, oh my god, is that an issue for them? Okay, okay. That one was fun. I got 3 more videos that I want to go through. Before I say I'm done with stream. And then I'll probably hang out in Discord voice chat. Because I like talking to people. Okay, so do we want to talk about Helldivers, Akira Toriyama, or an actual convicted pedophile? Think on that while I quickly run to the bathroom. Because I'm going to use a toilet like an adult and not a drain in my floor like a fucking man-child. Alrighty, thanks for stopping by, Nessie. You have a good rest of your night. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so Helldivers, Toriyama, or Rapido. Dun dun dun. I'm kind of leaning towards Toriyama because we just went over a Chud video. Maybe nice to have a little palate cleanser before we go into another Chud video. You'd like some wholesome before sleep? Well, the thing about Toriyama is, so there are people that are hating on him. So we're going to be doing some nice Toriyama standing. Just check my Twitter DMs. Okay, let's. I'm pretty sure Toriyama is going to be the lightest of the subjects, so let's go with that.
I'm
Not yet, please. I'm willing to bet the people that have known me for quite a while, watched my stuff for a fair bit, I really hope they can pick up that I'm a fan of Dragon Ball Z. And a video caught my eye on the homepage. I haven't watched through it yet, but it's a video put out by Car5555 Gaming titled "The Hate on Akira Toriyama Needs to Stop." So, for the most part, I don't really know what hate the dude gets. I have seen some people get upset over the design choices of like Mr. Popo and some of the other characters in early Dragon Ball and how they weren't the greatest representation kind of thing. Though, speaking as a white person on this subject, I don't think it was coming from a place of malice. That's just kind of the influence. Like, Japanese media was heavily influenced by American media, which was heavily influenced by the racism. So the caricature portrayals of certain types of people were transferred over into Japanese media through American media, but I don't think as much of the racism really did. Though I will be fair that I think I'm willing to bet that racism is not overly prevalent in the average country, so to speak, unless it's like festered or it's endorsed by the state. And I don't know enough about Japanese culture, law, and history to really make an educated statement on that. But from what I've seen with like all of Toriyama's work, he wants to make people laugh at the bottom line, and he wants to make as many people able to enjoy the stuff he makes as possible. So, white person talking about Japanese person writing black character. Not just that, it was also indigenous people from the Americas, because if you remember, oh fuck, what was their name? The people that lived at the base of Corrin's Tower. Because, like, those were stereotypical Native Americans in their character. It was broader, but it was never meant to be, like, maliciously, haha, let's laugh at them. Because that's all there is to it. They're, like, Mr. Popo was a very sweet character in the original series, And I really love how they handled him in Dragon Ball Z Abridged. But we're not talking about the Abridged. We're going to be talking about Toriyama. And okay, enough preamble. Let's find out what this YouTuber has to say about the hate that Toriyama gets.
I'm really not sure how to start off this video, honestly. We're gonna go. This is a little bit different. Normally I'm doing gaming stuff and joking around, but this time I'm gonna be serious. This isn't scripted at all. This is just heart to heart, pretty much. If you haven't heard of recent news lately, Akira Toriyama recently passed away, and it's really sad. He passed away at, I think, the age of 68 on March 1st. Honestly, it's really sad. I hope he rests in peace. He influenced my life.
Absolutely. Yeah, this guy's right of it. Toriyama passed away at 68 on March 1st, 2024 due to a brain tumor, and the news became public on March 8th, US time. March 7th, Japan time, I believe. As an American, I never thought much about Native American indigenous people. I understand how someone from Japan wouldn't know much, I guess. Yeah, like, in the exportation of that kind of media, the representation of Native American, like, indigenous people is often seen as akin to, like, Vikings, if you will. Not in culture or behavior, but in the fact that they're actual people that lived, but they're in the past. Their culture is no longer relevant today, when in reality, indigenous people's culture is still alive, and very much so. And I want to say thriving, but it's surviving. There are definitely people willing to pick up the torch and keep spreading that, and the culture's still around.
Life as well as so many others. I can't even begin to explain how much it's done. Dragon Ball is just so amazing, it just can't be explained in words. What I did want to talk about was some dumbass degenerates saying some really things online. I was looking around the internet, and this one guy says, Toriyama did not create, invent, or revolutionize anime or manga. Stop giving that man credit for everything. My favorite series would have existed with or without him. Rip to him, but stop hyping up that mother. Thank you. Togashi is the actual GOAT. God bless.
Okay, so Toriyama did not create, invent, or revolutionize anime or manga. So where did he steal Super Saiyan from, which became one of the most iconic things in anime? Now, I don't think Toriyama deserves absolute credit over absolutely everything, but his reach did reach very far. The dreaded bleep sensor. Yeah. I kind of wish it was like the Scouter beep, or not the Scouter beep or the Dragon Radar beep. That would have been so fitting. It would have been Chef's Kiss. But like, I mean, you can make the argument that the poop emoji that everybody knows and loves, it was featured in the Emoji Movie, that could potentially have its roots traced back to Akira Toriyama, because he wasn't really, I don't think he was the first one to actually draw poop in manga in that style where it's the swirl, but his Dr. Slump manga really popularized it, and a lot of people started doing that after that came out. So, thank you, Akira Toriyama.
Actual GOAT. God bless. Okay. I don't know where to even get started on this. These guys must have turned into like some Majin Bobbity type shit, because like, holy crap. So, I have a theory of why all this hate is coming towards. There's a lot more hate comments than just this one, but I do have a theory of why it's happening. Since Akira Toriyama passed away, people now find everyone who likes Dragon Ball in a state of weakness right now, because, of course, he's the creator of Dragon Ball. Why wouldn't they? So now, every fan of any other animes are kind of like, at least the mean ones, are deciding, oh yeah, well, it's time to attack. You can see they said some really things. Like, you're making fun of a dead guy, man. And
to be fair, it's the internet. That's going to happen. I've made fun of dead people. I don't think it's like the best thing to do, but I mean, I do think some people don't deserve respect even though they're dead. In Toriyama's case, he's been super influential in a lot of stuff, and you should probably at least respect the influence he had, whether or not you directly like what he actually made, because there was a lot of stuff that ended up being inspired from Dragon Ball Z, or no, from Dragon Ball. I mean, hell, he was Toriyama was, I can't remember his editor's name. I think it was the editor. But back at the end of the first arc of Dragon Ball, when the Pilaf arc is done, what did they do? Tournament sagas. Or they did a tournament arc. And I mean, every single action, or almost every single action anime or manga that came out after that has had a tournament arc, and tournament arcs have actually been really, really great for character development. Supersonic from Super Saiyan, yep, absolutely. That would be Chimera Ant from Hunter x Hunter. Ryu attacks from Kamehameha. Yeah, like literally, Ryu's Hadoken is a Dragon Ball reference. Even spiky hair mostly came from him, right? I don't know about the spiky hair thing. That's a bit more of a reach for me. I do know that when he was inking his original manga, Toriyama did love his spiky hair, but he also loved his bald characters, so I do know that he also ended up regretting making Saiyans all black-haired because it took up a lot of ink, and that's why we have Super Saiyan.
And you're making fun of his works. Dragon Ball is not an L, and it never will be. You just can't accept it for what it is. One of the great.
I will say that Dragon Ball does have its own problems and issues, but it does not detract from the entire series at large. It still has a lot of heart to it. It's got a lot of entertainment value in it.
Greatest anime and manga of all time.
Yeah.
I know people get jealous when different anime and manga are better than theirs, or better received than theirs are, and proceed to hate on it for no reason. I understand. At one point I was kind of like that with Dragon Ball and other manga and anime. I was kind of like, Dragon Ball's the best, nothing can beat it. But at a point you kind of get, it's too far right now. This is a point of mourning, a point where we should be respecting Akira Toriyama's works, where we should all come together and be like, this guy, even if you didn't like his creations, was still an amazing artist and story creator. He's made some of the most influential stories in manga and anime history. This is
like, yeah, 100% agree here. Toriyama was wonderful with his stories, especially when you come to realize that Toriyama didn't plan out entire arcs in advance. He was a very fly by the seat of your pants kind of mangaka, where he would go with the flow. He didn't plan out tons of stuff. Did it work perfectly every time? No. But did it work most of the time because that's what he knew and what he developed? Oh, fuck yeah. Dude knew what he was doing and could do it well. There's a reason why so many people know his name.
Serious. This is like something that you don't need to joke and be rude about. This is a passing. I think my friend said this the best, so I'm gonna let him go on this one. My friend is here to talk about the sad passing of Akira Toriyama and his views on all the hate that's going on and everything. So I'll let you go ahead.
Well, to begin, the death of Akira Toriyama is very sad and heartbreaking to many people around the world. So all this hate of people trashing his name, death, and Dragon Ball on Twitter all of a sudden pisses me off so much, because it started after his death, which I believe makes the haters feel more secure about trashing the anime due to the creator not being alive to defend it. I think that the haters are trashing the anime because it's better than their favorite anime. So obviously they don't like it. But when you trash the death of the creator itself is way too personal, way too wrong, sinful in my opinion even. When I see those comments, I want to boil over, scream in rage, and turn Super Saiyan. So, in my opinion, I think that these people hating on Akira Toriyama need to be placed in an insane asylum. Because this is just unnecessary, wrong, and disrespectful.
I couldn't agree with you more.
And that's
We here at Briley VT do not condone hater violence. We do, however, find it hilarious.
it for me.
Yeah, well, thanks, Dom, and yeah, I'll carry away with the rest of the video. And I just
Okay, for real though, don't attack anybody just because you have a disagreement with them. Especially don't get physically violent. That's bad. I know that like the audience members I have that I actually interact with in chat, in Discord and whatnot, I know you guys ain't going to do that, but I don't talk with every single person that watches my videos, so you never know.
I just feel like since people are trying to defend their own anime, we can all like our own anime, and I totally respect if you think it's the best.
I mean, yeah, opinions are subjective. There is no objective best anime, but my opinion is correct and everybody else is wrong, and I will die on this hill.
Making fun of someone's death is going too far. You could say, I don't like this anime, but like, man, do you seriously have to be a dick? I know people like...
I mean, I will make fun of Margaret Thatcher. She's dead. She makes for a very nice toilet. But I don't think you should make those kinds of jokes for somebody who has made a piece of media that you don't necessarily care about, and you're just kind of hating it because it's popular. Because as we all know, popularity breeds contempt. And what is Dragon Ball Z if not one of the most well-known anime out there? So of course there are going to be detractors of all sorts and types, and oh my god, there are going to be people that definitely take it the wrong direction. I never said you should lie, like tie bigots' shoelaces together, but I wouldn't be mad about it. Those are funny pranks. Like, if I could get into a bigot's house while they're sleeping, you want to know what I would do? I would take the batteries out of the remotes. All the batteries in the house, mine now, and leave. I'd probably just leave them out in the front yard or something. I don't even care about their batteries. I just want to inconvenience them and make them angry. I don't want to cause any harm. I just want to frustrate them.
Hiding behind screens. But this isn't funny anymore. This is not funny. You're making fun of someone's death. This person has made many stories. Dragon Ball is just one of them. Dr. Slump, there's a couple other ones. And all
what was that one? There's some Sandland? I think there's also Sandland. Also, for those that don't know or haven't heard, there is something coming out called Dragon Ball Daima. And what is that? That is quite possibly the last thing Akira Toriyama ever worked on. It's going to be the last bit of Toriyama influenced directly anime. And he had, from my definitely check out a video by Totally Not Mark, I think it was, who talks about Daima. Basically, Toriyama was super involved in the process of developing it to like the point of rewriting a lot of the story. And oh my god, from the trailers I've seen, it literally looks like his manga come to life, animated flawlessly. And it's had, like, at this point, almost 2 years of development before it's even releasing. I believe it's releasing this later this year. And Toriyama had a ton of influence on it. So, oh my god, that one's going to be so weird to get through. I don't remember the full story, but yeah, it's kind of going to be like going back to a Dragon Ball adventure kind of thing, where it's kind of ironic. The last thing that Toriyama worked on was essentially a callback to where it all started with the beginning story of Goku as a kid. I don't know exactly how things play out or why they get age regressed or whatnot, but the animation looks great, and I'm just so excited about it.
All of them have influenced well beyond, I think, any other anime has. It's just impressive because their story, the characters are so iconic, sometimes even relatable in that way. I know it's anime, so it can't be super relatable, but they got a nice touch to them. Each of them are funny and interesting in their own ways, and the stories brought to life of the original Dragon Ball got me some good laughs, and towards the end it's got some really good fighting in it. Dragon Ball Z is just science fiction bundled up with martial arts fighting. It's just amazing. There's just something about it, just like, yeah, I don't understand why it's getting hate, why people are making fun of it. They're turning evil, pretty much. You're really gonna hide behind a screen and make fun of someone's death.
Sorry to say this, Car. This is the internet. People are going to do that. And they are wrong.
I'm looking at you and saying this. Are you seriously going to do that? I can't believe you, man. I'll just give you a second to realize how messed up it is to make fun of a dead person. And for no good reason at all. Just give your...
I will say this. It won't be that effective to just say, I don't think this rhetoric is super effective. I think it's better to just kind of make them feel like they're cringe rather than... you're such a horrible person, because calling them a horrible person, that's the reaction they want. And if you give them the reaction of, oh, that's cringe, miss me with that shit, and then you just carry on with your own shit, that's going to stick with them because they want you to get mad. I mean, that's how trolls on the internet work. It's what they feed off of.
Give yourself a second to think about that, because that's really messed up. And the internet's come to this point where I just can't be proud. Is this seriously what we've gotten to at this point, where we're making fun of people who've passed away? Someone whose legacy is probably greater than yourself. Next thing I kind of wanted to address is...
I mean, I do think there is definitely a number of people that this is the strongest they'll feel, sort of thing. Laugh at the jerks, make fun of them, make them feel dumb and pathetic. Yeah, exactly.
So what I've been seeing recently is people talking about the big three. And if you're curious what the big three, it's big three.
Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, Naruto.
Of manga and anime. Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece. Which,
okay. Bleach is just Dragon Ball Z with swords.
All are good for the most part, excluding Naruto. No, I'm just kidding. Dragon Ball's never mentioned in any of these videos, and its influence is even bigger than all three of those. You could even say Demon Slayer is probably in one of those.
I mean, for fuck's sakes, Naruto's original outfit design, the orange jumpsuit, the blonde hair, it's literally a reference to Super Saiyan Goku. Some people didn't pick up on that.
Because all of those are relatively newer animes compared to Dragon Ball, because Dragon Ball's pretty old. Just saying, nothing compares to the size of Dragon Ball. It had 3 different animes, yes. And it's not only influenced anime and manga, from shonen to just anime in general, it's influenced pop culture. You ever think about it, anime used to really not be cool back in the day. Anime used to be something most people didn't respect. People thought it was lame, they didn't understand it. It was
Daddy, I don't want to be on Namek anymore.
mostly taught away and people were made fun of because of it. But since Dragon Ball came in, it's kind of become part of this mainstream. Now everyone widely accepts the big animes as good and cool animes. If they're fighting, usually people are like, yeah, that's pretty cool, you watch anime? Before they were like, dude, you're a loser, you're lame. Now they're like, yeah, you're pretty cool, man, you watch anime? That's cool. So that's just a big influence. Dragon Ball even influenced Naruto, Bleach, One Piece in some way. They use many different ideas from Dragon Ball. Even the basis of like ki and energy attacks coming from your body is kind of something.
Well, I wouldn't give that one directly to Toriyama as like he came up with that concept. I would say he was one of the first to really popularize it, but there's myth, legends, like IRL folklore kind of stuff where this kind of thing has happened. I wouldn't say that Toriyama came up with the concept, but he most definitely popularized it.
Thing that came from Dragon Ball. Another way Dragon Ball's influence goes beyond itself is actually in one of my favorite video game series, Sonic the Hedgehog. Many things are influenced from Dragon Ball, like 7 Chaos Emeralds, 7 Dragon Balls, Super Sonic, and Super Saiyan. Super Sonic was influenced by Super Saiyan. Shadow had a bit of influence, you can kind of see it, from Vegeta, and the Echidna tribe was kind of influenced by the Namekians as well.
You going to mention Silver, or do I get to share that one with the class?
Well, Silver and his backstory being influenced by future Trunkses. I bet there's many more examples, but I'll just start with that. So I just feel like Dragon Ball being kind of pushed out of this one is kind of unfair because its influence is just so big. It should be talked about more often with the anime community.
Holy fuck. Unrelated, this Tournament of Power arc, the animation was so good. And like Sonic, you hack. And like fuck, even I just recently watched Dragon Ball Superhero. Holy fuck. If you want a feel-good Dragon Ball adventure, watch that. Please. It's legitimately funny. It's legitimately entertaining. It is not without its faults, and I have some real big issues with it, but it is easily one of my favorite Dragon Ball movies. I borrowed it. You can watch it on YouTube for money, but I borrowed it. Please support the official release.
Find people who are really into a lot of anime talk about One Piece and all that other kind of stuff. They rarely ever reference Dragon Ball, and I just feel like I wish I could be more. I also have one more thing to say. Just ending off this video, I really think some people should change their minds about what they've said about Akira Toriyama, because they've said some really horrible things to a person that's not even with us right now. And I think what needs to go on right here is just a bit of respect. If someone likes something, you cannot like that person. You can say in your head, oh yeah, I don't like them because they don't like the same thing as me. But you can show some respect. Respect what Akira Toriyama did for the world, and don't diss on this person. Many people enjoy his works every day. Some people just need to accept that. So I think we should stop all hate coming towards Akira Toriyama, because it's not getting anywhere. It's just making people mad. And I feel like...
Yeah, for real. As it's been mentioned earlier in this video, if you've got an issue with Dragon Ball, you can have that issue. You don't need to project it onto Toriyama himself as well. You don't need to hate the creator to hate what they created, even if you do hate it. Though, if you hate Dragon Ball, why are you watching? Why are you watching a video about it?
Like it's unfair and unjust because there's no reason for it. It's just jealousy. They're could be many different reasons, but I think mainly is because people are jealous that Dragon Ball is just so popular, and sometimes people are even jealous that it's better than some of their anime. Sometimes you just have to hear that to realize it. Plus, with Dragon Ball Daima coming out soon, I think we should all just set aside our differences and enjoy it. Even though all of its backlash that it's gotten, I think we should really give Dragon Ball Daima a chance. It looks like it has some good ideas, and it's Akira Toriyama's last work, and I'm excited. I've changed my mind on it full 360. I wasn't excited about it before because it looked kind of just like GT, but now
I was honestly iffy on Daima. Like, when I first heard about it, it was like, oh, okay, they're doing that. Or they're making Goku and Vegeta kids or something. I'll probably watch it. And then Toriyama passed, and a while after that I watched a video going about why Dragon Ball Daima is so important, and god damn it, now I want to see it. It looks like it's going to be, it's got all the ingredients to be a wonderful send-off to Akira Toriyama. It's got his direct influence. It looks just like his manga. It was the last thing he worked on. But only time will tell when it comes out. But I'm going to be going in with positive bias. I will not deny that.
now I'm super excited about it. I can't wait to see what's in store for us. That's it. Make sure to respect the legacy of Akira Toriyama. This internet hate does not need to keep going around. All I want you to do after coming out of this video is to not hate on Akira Toriyama and instead respect his legacy because he needs it. And thank you for watching till the end. That's all from me.
Good times, good times. Good video. If anybody is interested in checking out any of this guy's other videos, you are more than welcome to go check those out, because I mean, he made his points. I seem to agree with them. He seems pretty poggers, and I am using that unironically. Just from one Toriyama fan to another. Okay, that about wraps up that segi. So I got 2 more videos I want to go through. Now it's just a question of which do I go through first. Do I want to talk about Helldivers and how it went woke? Or, you know, I think I might get the I think I'm going to get the pedo video out of the way, and then finish off with some good old-fashioned managed democracy. No, don't autoplay when I full screen. I got a preamble, YouTube. Come on. You have a good sleep, Aiden. Thanks for joining in. It's been nice to chat with you. Okay, so we're going to be getting into a video titled "The Propagandist Most Violated by Community Notes." It was created by a VTuber known as Andreas Warble. I hope that's how you pronounce it. But before I really get into the video, I just wanted to be upfront with a thing or two. But Andreas here, the creator of this video, had sought out my insight into the script editing, or into the script of it. And honestly, I didn't need to provide much of any notes. I haven't watched the video just yet. I wanted to go through that with y'all as well. But, yeah, I think that's it. This is not, like, typically when I go over such people in these types of videos, or when I'm calling people out, I tend to do my own stuff for it. In this instance, I wanted to, or this person wanted to make a video about not a VTuber, about some person who has been gaining some ground online. And I'll be honest, I don't really know, I don't remember exactly how this goes. And since I don't have a ton to add to the context of who this person is, I am also going to be giving feedback on editing, because I definitely know a ton of that. I kid, I have a little bit of a background in editing. Anyways, enough of a preamble. We're going to start up with checking out the person most violated by community notes on Twitter.
If you're on Twitter, you may have seen a feature called Community Notes. This is essentially crowdsourced fact-checking. I'm not sure if it could be automated, nor am I not sure how you would automate such a thing, but regardless, another thing related to Community Notes is the gimmick account Community Notes violating people. If you look at the account long enough, you'll get it quite familiar with a man who gets hit with particularly devastating community notes. While there are people who have been hit with more community notes, there isn't really anyone who's gotten more severe community notes.
Right off the bat, he's got a good, he's grabbing attention fairly well. I personally think I might have, I would have shifted stuff over to the side, a little to the left side of the screen a bit, so that we can still see the VTuber talking while they're talking and letting us know. But overall, so far, showing off sources to what they're referencing, real good to have, especially in a video essay.
That man's name is Scott Ritter. Now, before I go any further,
little bit of a, I think the disclaimer could have been a little shorter, but like, because it kind of holds there for a few seconds. But let's see, overall, not a bad look to the video.
I'd like to request that if you watch this video, don't harass anyone I name in the video. If someone announces that they're having this video's subject on as a guest and you want to use this as a resource to change their mind, that's one thing. Just be polite, and if they're still committed to having him on, just drop the subject. But don't harass people who have already had him on that I name in the video, and also don't harass him either. Anyways,
I mean, as much as a nice sentiment it is to not harass Scott Ritter here, as he's going to show, it's something that keeps happening. I think I only actually really offered one change, and that was to have this disclaimer front loaded in the video instead of, like, I don't know, third, halfway through. I can't remember exactly where it was pasted.
With that out of the way, let's get into the subject of the video.
Yeah, into the meat.
Scott Ritter is a former Marine, a former UN weapons inspector, a common guest on geopolitical web shows, and a convicted pedophile. Now, I normally avoid saying stuff like that.
It just...
A common guest on geopolitical web shows, and a convicted pedophile.
Nice timing. Former UN weapons inspector found guilty in online sex case. Oh. Wow, he really got. Man, wait, wasn't it twice convicted? I can't remember, but I mean, I do wonder where this article is from. This article is more than 12 years old. I mean, it wasn't something new.
Now, I normally avoid saying stuff like that unless I have proof, as aside from the fact that I and a lot of other people on the internet saw what happened when Mama Max falsely labeled people as pedophiles and what that label did to them, I'd rather not risk a defamation lawsuit.
Yeah, for people who aren't aware, Mama Max was a fairly prominent pedo hunter channel, and long story short, it was like it came out as the videos we make are all fictional, but the people we're making videos on are real pedophiles. Source, trust me, bro. I think they accurately called out one or two, but then they went on a witch hunt of this one specific person where they didn't actually have concrete proof for their claims. So that really blew up in their face. That was a pretty big drama.
Not going to elaborate on who Mama Max is, but I'll link a video by Lanza in the description if you want to know who he is. But as it just
FYI, that video by Lanza is very good, informative. Check it out if you're curious about who the hell Mama Max was.
so happens, I have Mr. Ritter's record right here, which I will also link in the description. So if Mr. Ritter sees this and decides to try and sue me, all I have to say is, go ahead, make my day. You'll either have to acknowledge your criminal history in court under oath, or you'll commit perjury if you try and deny it. Also, while his full name is William Scott Ritter, I'm going to refer to him as Scott Ritter, or just by his last name, since, well, he uses Scott Ritter as his Twitter handle, so that is the name he wants people to call him.
I may not like him, but if that's the name he identifies with, I will call him that. That's how he's labeling himself to the world. That's how the world's going to refer to him.
Oh, Mr. Ritter's status as a convicted pedophile wasn't exactly a well-kept secret before recent events. A New York Times article from 2012 mentions it. It really only got to get traction after the outbreak of the Russia-Ukraine war. Because Mr. Ritter got pushed by the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, a fair number of people began looking up stuff.
Wait. Huh. Man. I don't
about him, and well, the rest is history. As a result, if he gets involved in an argument with someone, usually on Twitter, it's inevitable that someone will bring up his conviction. He'll deny it, although it's not like he could justify it, and he'll get community noted a good amount of the time.
Thank God community notes exist.
It's kind of like Godwin's Law, and because not only was this the sort of thing a case of life imitating art, or a meme in this case, but also because, well, I don't think I need to explain why society reviles pedophiles, it will get noticed by people who otherwise don't pay much attention to geopolitics. And while I was writing this essay, he even unintentionally exposed, pun unintended, but
James, always forgive. No, don't expect much from temperature IQ dipshit like yourself. You're factually challenged ad hominem attack only underscores your own intellectual and moral failings, which for the purposes of Scott Ritter is a convicted sex offender who at least on 2 occasions sought to engage in sexual activity with children. This dude cannot win any debates online, any argument. He should just disappear.
unavoidable, himself to his audience by retweeting one of his own tweets that got community noted. A good amount of the information that I used as a starting point on Mr. Ritter comes from, and I'm going to probably butcher this name, so I do apologize if he sees this, Pekka Kalliomäki's Vatnik Soup series, which I will link in the description. I will also link the Twitter account of the person in question, so I hope he considers that at fair compensation. Anyways, however,
one change I would actually personally make here is whatever the hell that dude's name is.
Pekka Kallio.
Yeah, that guy. I would have held this on the screen a bit longer so that people it can sink in how it can sink into the people you're talking to, who you're actually talking to for a bit. Because like I understand the keep things going, high pace stuff, but you do need to let media set for a bit so that people can digest it, at least so they don't have to keep pausing to check everything.
Kalliomäki's Vatnik Soup series, which I will link in the description. I will also
personally the Vatnik Soup logo, I would have
apologize if he sees this. Pekka Kallio.
I would have like put the soup logo right about here or something so that you get both of the things on, because right, all you can see here is a hashtag. It helps to have the logo.
Kalliomäki's Vatnik Soup series, which I will link in the description. I will also link the Twitter account of the person in question, so I hope he considers that at fair compensation. Anyways, however, I'm equally focused on why he keeps on getting back up and continuing to contribute to the discussion online, as well as speculate if there's any
Fuck, I asked that question about a lot of the pedophiles I've called out.
Anything that could actually get him to leap for good. And also make this video because I'm honestly surprised by the lack of content about the guy. I only know of 3, at the time of writing this script, 4 when I started actually recording, channels that have talked about him. Dylan Burns, who made 2 videos talking about him.
If you don't know Dylan Burns, he is super duper based. He's been doing a lot of Ukrainian war coverage in Ukraine. I've known of Dylan for couple years now, I want to say. Definitely worth checking out. His insights are good and pretty upstanding guy from what I've seen.
Laser Pig, who kind of talked about him in one video, and a channel for expats called Connor Klein. Yeah, that last one is really weird.
Channel for expats? Like expatriates? People living in other countries? Wacky. I've never heard of this Connor Klein.
But while I was editing this video, and when I decided I should record a lot of this stuff that I'm using, a surprisingly well-made video on Mr. Ritter's claims about the Russo-Ukraine war by a channel called The Military Show was posted that actually looks at his claims. So I guess you could consider this video a companion piece to that video. But anyways, let's keep looking at Mr. Ritter as a person. Now, Scott has kind of found himself on the anti-war and pro-Russia side of the Russo-Ukraine war, usually cited by the pro-Russian sources. He's even contributed...
Okay, so he's pro-war? The irony of having a career checking weapons but letting his own piece out inappropriately. Yeah, true.
...to Russia Today. Now, it is worth pointing out that Russia Today is not only literally state-run propaganda, but it's also rated as a questionable source by the website Media Biased Fact Check. Although in Mr. Ritter's defense, and Russia Today's defense, this is the only time you'll hear me say this in regards to Russia Today, Mr. Ritter's contributions to Russia Today are opinion pieces, not articles. But still, I don't...
To the wrong people, opinion pieces are articles. Fact to them. All they need to do is hear somebody say it, and then they can just regurgitate it endlessly.
I don't think I need to explain this, but pedophiles are probably one of the most universally hated groups of people in society. In fact, in prisons...
First time I've ever hearing about this one.
sex offenders in general receive special hatred from most other prisoners in comparison to those convicted of other crimes. And there's
Like murder.
also the fact that sex offenders in general have a hard time finding a job. And if you want more information on that, I'll link a paper in the description. Well, I do believe that society should make it easier for those who are falsely accused to clear their name. Mr. Ritter was actually caught in the act. So why do people still bring him on as a consultant, given his conviction? Well, it's because of his service record. Scott Ritter is a former analyst for the U.S. Marine Corps who worked on the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan and the Iran-Iraq War, as well as a former UN weapons inspector who inspected weapons in Iraq up until Saddam Hussein's regime kicked him out. This, combined with the stance he publicly took on the Iraq War right before it happened, namely he was in opposition to it, might make him seem like a prominent name that networks should be fighting over for guest spots. Yet, as I mentioned, he's not appeared on any major TV network, on CNN, Fox, MSNBC, or even OAN or Newsmax. Instead, rather, he makes his appearances on YouTube channels such as Danny Haifong, who himself has admitted that he worked for CGTN, the Chinese equivalent of Russia Today, and Cyrus Jansen, who, while not employed by CGTN, has associated with them in the past. Aside from CGTN being literal state-run propaganda, much like Russia Today, they also have a rating of questionable sources from the website Media Bias Fact Check. Somewhat surprisingly, Mr. Ritter has not appeared as a guest on InfoWars. There is also one supposed...
Oh my god. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually ended up on InfoWars one day.
pro-Ukraine channel called The Enforcer, which cited him as a source, but I cannot show that on the YouTube side of things, unfortunately, because that channel is quite happy to file false DMCA claims against people. If you want that clip, you'll have to go watch the Mega Video version, which is in the description. Now, I was going to add some additional comments about some of the other channels I found that were talking about Mr. Ritter that had no ties to CGTN, but then I looked into what other channels he's appeared on aside from the two I mentioned, and I found some rather odd results. The first was a channel called Gacha Gaming, which is not dedicated to gacha games like Fate Grand Order or Genshin.
Huh. I think I remember hearing about something that was like a lot of gaming channels have been offered money to make political content. Chris Raygun's talked about it before. And this just looks like one of those channels that did general gaming content and then, well, they're getting money for some reason to have this guy and his, what, 3 pictures in the thumbnails?
Gacha games like Fate Grand Order or Genshin Impact prior to uploading Mr. Ritter's stuff, but rather the game Gacha Life. I have no idea what that game's like, so I'm not going to comment.
What the hell is Gacha Life, and how does an account have like 100,000 subscribers on it? Well, I don't respect Scott Ritter, but I respect that grind, I guess.
On it. The second was a channel called Lynn Crochet, which was kind of all over the place. Given that both of these channels were posting stuff in Vietnamese up until a few months ago, I'm assuming it's Vietnamese anyway, since that's what Google Translate tells me, I can't help but wonder if someone bought these channels on Mr. Ritter's behalf.
It kind of looks like it.
The funny thing about Mr. Ritter's record is, if you actually take a look at what he did on his job while he was serving, his anti-war record actually becomes somewhat questionable. According to an interview his former boss, Richard Butler, did, Mr. Ritter is someone who, if he made his mind up about something, would insist that it was the truth, even if he didn't have anything to back it up. For example, as I mentioned, during the 1990s, he was as one of the UN weapons inspectors in Iraq, and in a 1998 interview with Jim Lear, even stated, quote, "The bottom line is that because of Iraq's choosing, they have painted me as a troublemaker in an effort to distract the world's attention away from its failure, Iraq's failure, to abide by its disarmament obligations." And that...
Remind me, were there weapons of mass destruction in Iraq? I don't think there were. But it's also been forever, so I don't know.
That, quote, "Iraq still has prescribed weapons capability." I've linked to that interview itself if you want to check it out. At the time, this comes off as someone who is quite concerned that Iraq may attempt to rearm itself. While I cannot prove this, so I will fully admit that I could be wrong, and what I'm about to say is just speculation. This rhetoric is very similar to the claim that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction that was used to justify the invasion in 2003.
Yeah, if I'm remembering correctly, it was initially Iraq has weapons of mass destruction, so we need to invade, and then after we can't find them, but they still have the potential, so we got to keep looking. I'm simplifying it, but I think that's how it played out.
A claim which, if you weren't alive back then, which there is a decent chance and might apply to anyone who's watching this video, it was later proven to be false, meaning it's entirely possible Mr. Ritter's claims were used in the justification of the 2003 Iraq War. However, if you go back to 1991, you'll find something very interesting. In August of that year, Mr. Ritter married his second and current wife, a 19-year-old Russian by the name of, I'm going to butcher this again, Marina Katyashvili.
Marina Katyashvili. I'm not actually Russian, so I don't know how to pronounce it.
Marina allegedly worked in Russia as an escort. I'm not holding that against him, but more important to the situation is
respect. We respect our sex workers here.
She also has/had ties to the KGB. You know, the Soviet intelligence service. To my knowledge, she's still
Very
married, and despite knowing about those ties and how they'd be a huge conflict of interest with his job, Scott chose to marry her, yet still tried to hold his position. That conflict of interest alone should disqualify Mr. Ritter from being a commentator on any geopolitical issues involving Russia. It's even been speculated by some that Marina was used as a honeypot trap. If you've never heard that term, basically it's an intelligence trick where romantic or sexual relations are used to either gather intelligence or manipulate people. Given the previously mentioned ties Mr. Ritter's current wife has to the KGB, as well as the fact that Mr. Ritter has never been critical of Vladimir Putin, it's entirely possible that Marina influenced Ritter's opinion before the Iraq War, and still does to this day. Again, and that's speculating, but still. Now, I'm about to say something that is just speculation, but I suspect the actual reason for his change of heart was because he was kicked out and still wanted relevancy. This, combined with the fact that his first arrest for pedophilia produced a very expensive set of legal bills, meant that he basically had no choice but to speak for whoever was willing to pay him.
Yeah, that's kind of the consequence of getting convicted for pedophilia, isn't it?
And given what his field of expertise is, combined with the current geopolitical environment, means that unless he actually gets locked up for good, he's probably going to stick around like some kind of cockroach. Now, I was going to just say he just wanted relevancy, but on a whim, I decided to go to the website Instant Checkmate, and sure enough, Scott Ritter has declared bankruptcy.
He's declared bankruptcy and he's still going. I mean, I guess he's got to make money somehow, but I'm gonna be real. I'm glad his life is not going well for him.
It's quite apparent that Mr. Ritter won't leave no matter how many times he gets called out. I don't think getting banned on Twitter would be enough to get him to go away, as aside from the fact that he has been suspended from Twitter before, he was doing speaking gigs before the site even existed.
This is true, and also, have y'all ever heard of an account called Dom Lucre? They were an account that got banned off of Twitter for posting literal CSEM. I think they were trying to win an argument or something, but they got banned off Twitter for obvious reasons, and then I think it was Elon Musk who was like, yeah, we should unban them.
So it's likely he'd just find other ways. I think the best way to get him to stop speaking would be getting him called out in front of a national audience. As in, have him go on, I don't know, MSNBC and bring the charges against him up. Force them out in the open in front of a large audience. And
God, I wish MSNBC was ballsy enough to do that. But odds are they won't. That would be great content, though.
if he tries to deny those claims, bring up evidence, such as the fact that he's still listed in sex offender databases, or the testimony of the officer who caught him the second time. Something similar to what Mehdi Hassan did to Matt Taibbi when the two debated over the Twitter files. I would play a clip of that, but given that MSNBC is apparently quite copyright happy, I'll just link it in the description. That debate pretty much nuked any credibility Mr. Taibbi had left, but as I don't have any influence, I can only hope someone else takes my idea and runs with it.
Hopefully.
So, why did I write this essay anyways? And why did I make this video, you may
Follow
ask?
bad
I guess
people?
it was because of, well, what I couldn't find. Namely, a video taking a look at what this guy had done off screen, I guess you could say. I doubt that someone like Jay Aubrey with the right opinion would take a crack at this guy, so I figured, even though I'm nowhere near as talented as those two people, there is literally no downside to taking matters into my own hands. I do have some stuff related to VTubing planned for future essays, which I'm working on right now, but for now, that's all I have to say. Hey, thanks for watching this. It's my first essay, so it's probably going to be really rough compared to stuff I make later on. Anyways, I have some essays in the works as of publishing this video, so if you want to see more from me, consider subscribing to stay informed, and also throw a like if you liked this video. It helps out greatly. And comment if you have any questions or just want to suggest improvements. But anyways, thanks for watching. I'm Andres Corbell, and I'll see you next assignment. Later.
Boop. Boop. Good video. Good video. I'm already subscribed to the dude. Y'all should be as well. I'm going to link him in chat. So if you want to check out any of Andreas's other stuff, you're more than welcome to. Did he get convicted after his career? How could a convict hold any kind of security clearance? I'm pretty sure, I gotta double check that, but I am pretty sure that he got convicted in 2010, 2011. Because the dude literally, like, Andreas literally posted, here it is. He got convicted in 2015. So, well after his involvement in the Iraq War, and well after his marriage to a ex-KGB agent, or somebody with ties to the KGB. But yeah, here's the police report, public knowledge. But yeah, overall, pretty damn good video. I think the only changes I would personally make would be the layout a little bit. Like using actually this as an example, shift the image media that you're sharing over to the left, have your VTuber up a little more pronounced here on the right side. Keep in mind the rule of thirds, and maybe add some lo-fi backtrack or fitting music, and goddamn, you got a recipe for really good video essays here. Dude's got 31 subscribers right now, but I can definitely see this guy getting more. Okay. I had to step away for a quick second. AFK. One more video, and then I'm going to be ending stream.
A few weeks ago, I made...
Shut up. Okay, who's ready to talk about Helldivers? Want to be fun? Let's talk about it. So a game recently came out. It's pretty popular. People are liking it. Helldivers 2, if you haven't heard of it. It's basically you go down onto a planet, you fight aliens or robots or whatever they add in the future, and it's got a very heavy atmosphere of political satire. And there's a lot of people that don't understand it, they don't get it. Oh boy. And today we're going over a video by the Archcast, who is mad that the Helldivers 2 community manager had banned some right-wingers, and he's mad that the game is woke. You know, the game that's making fun of authoritarianism is woke. I know, hard to believe, but try to stick with me. Anyways, without too much of a preamble, I just want to get into it, and oh my god, I honestly wonder if he's going to take this image seriously for this, like, no politics, only democracy. Is he going to I really wonder what direction he's going with having this on screen.
A few weeks ago, I made a video extolling the virtues of Helldivers 2's decision to ban both sides of the political divide. People who are asking for LGBTQ capes and the people who are arguing against them a bit too vehemently.
Okay, so you wanted them to ban the people pro-queer capes and the people that were vehemently against it, but not the people who were, like, kind of against it.
And in essence, therefore, instituting a no-politics zone. This is...
Helldivers 2, a no politics zone. You can't separate the politics from it. Hey, Andres. Great video, by the way.
What I think to be the best solution for a game like Helldivers 2, which is of course not the correct venue for this sort of political discourse.
Have you played Helldivers 2, Mr. Archcast? I don't think so.
Is a third-person extraction shooter, not really where this conversation should be had, and thus simply banning both sides.
Okay, so if you don't know, the game in it, you're always screaming about freedom and democracy while you're killing aliens that you're told hate those things. I honestly wonder if he's being deliberately obtuse or if he's genuinely that ill-equipped to understand media.
Was the correct choice, but unfortunately that choice may have turned out to be not as absolute as we were hoping, as this here, Catherine Baskin, is the community manager for Arrowhead, the developers of Helldiver. She says in response to, didn't they ban people from their Discord for suggesting they add LGBT colored capes? No, she says, we only banned the bigots, transphobes, homophobes, racists, etc.
Not this guy again, he's always ruining my hobbies. I know, right? Honestly, I can't wait to actually see his response to the female custodies. So, that's gotta be so funny.
Are not welcome in our community. We had to restrict the topics in the Helldiver 2 general chats for a while because it was triggering massive waves of hate speech which our staff was struggling with emotionally. So this is a very different story from what we actually saw and were told, namely that they were simply...
Whoa. You mean the people that make the game where we were told that we finished off the automaton threat for good, and then the automatons came back? They might have meant something else than what they said. I can't grasp this ever happening.
Saying that we are not a venue for this sort of politics. This in fact seems to directly contradict that, as they were only banning, and this is a very left-wing woman from the fact that we can see here, this is her profile. LGBT flag, of course, free Palestine and trans rights.
How fucking horrible for wanting people to have individual rights and freedoms. Man.
So when she says racist, homophobes, bigots, etc., what she means is everything and...
Wait, the golden one? Wait, the Archcast was called out by H Bomber guy? Huh.
Everyone who disagrees with her.
No, they're banning the bigots, the people that want to say the racist, the hurtful shit to the minorities that it's going to hurt. That's who they're keeping out. And why is that a problem? It's a problem because he probably wants people to say that hurtful shit to the minorities.
This was then picked up on by Grumps, amongst other people. Not Helldivers. My take, she's banning the right people in their Discord. Helldivers bans out-of-game political issues if that policy is being applied fairly, and the community manager is doing her job. I'm fine with the flags in the bio. And you know what? That is a perfectly fine position, because you can have aforementioned flags in the bio and still be a decent person. It's rare in this day and age, but it is conceivably possible.
It is conceivably possible that the people who say woke is bad aren't entirely shit-eating pieces of garbage, but it's not likely. Like, come on. Do you have more in-depth things to say? We're 2.5 minutes into a 10-minute video.
The question is, though, are they banning the right people? Because
yeah, they're banning right-wing people, the people whose values tend to line up with transphobia, racism, homophobia, all that fun stuff that, you know, goes along with conservatism for some reason.
Because this might be her speaking a bit out of her ass, entirely possible. It could be, well, a lie, straight up. But that is perhaps an overly charitable interpretation, isn't it? You here have the community manager saying that they are banning the bigots, the transphobes, the homophobes, the racists, etc. Which would be fine if she actually meant the definition of those words when she said it.
Please, God, give me a source. For what you're saying, give me a source, anything.
But she does not. I can damn near guarantee it.
Okay.
There was also then...
Okay, his source is Grumps. Cool.
A list of messages that came out here. These are all from the Twitter account, so they are all public. I also don't like the term casual and hardcore because they come with the implication that skill equals passion.
I can agree with that statement, Catherine. Pretty good. I was making a joke about how the arch looks like the Wish version of TGO. TGO. I should know what that acronym means.
Yes, because skill does come from passion, because passion means that you put time into a thing, and time into a thing equals passion.
Oh my god, raise your hand in chat if you've seen that meme that's from Invincible, somebody getting into the game with like 6 hours playtime. So when do I start getting good? And then somebody with 5 hours of the playtime, the response is, that's the neat part, you don't. Skill doesn't necessarily mean passion. You can be the most passionate person in the world about something, but not be able to have the motor skills to be able to keep up with high level competitive gameplay. It's just different for whoever's engaging with it. There's a reason why there's like a ton of different difficulty levels.
Those words are something gamers cling to, but they're being rendered meaningless as games become more accessible, inclusive, and experimental.
Oh, that's why he's triggered. She said inclusive.
I'm not talking much because it's not my turn to talk. It's time for black people to be heard and for white people to listen.
Oh, that's why he's triggered, because he's being told that he should listen to black voices, and he doesn't like that.
I am so tired of games focusing on parent-child narratives, period. Let alone male-centric ones. There are other relationships worth exploring in games.
Yeah, I can get along with that. I'm not the biggest fan of, like, parental stories.
You know what I like? Games with female stories. I like women. I'd like to see more women doing things in games that aren't motivated entirely
Oh, that's why he's mad, because she says she likes women.
by men. Plus, Helldivers is pretty woke, dog. Game was made by a lot of LGBTQ people, and brown people, and black people, and women, and it's a big satire of jingoism. It amuses me that they don't know that Super Earth is bad.
You mean the government that tells you to vote through a computer system, and then it's funneled by, or it's sorted, quote unquote, heavy quotation marks, sorted by an AI to help people predict where their vote's actually going for, because people can't make that informed decision on their own. So that's what they call managed democracy, and that's what they're spreading to the bug planets that they generate oil from the carcasses of, or the automatons, which come from a rebellious group of cyborgs. But no, Super Earth is the good guys.
Again, this woman, by all appearances, messages, and flags in bio, is far left, and thus, once more, when she says this, we know what it means, and we know that that means the policy is not, if this woman is telling the truth, being applied evenly.
What? I need to re-listen to that, because that psychic damage.
Woman, by all appearances, messages, and flags in bio, is far left, and thus, once more, when she says this, we know what it means, and we know that that means the policy is not, if this woman is telling the truth, being applied evenly.
Maybe it has something to do with how those bigoted responses tend to come from right-leaning people. They don't typically manifest in left-leaning people. It's just how the cards play out. I mean, a lot of people get banned from social medias for a lot of different things, though there's a lot of people that get or there's a lot of people with the hate speech stuff getting banned because, well, there's one side of the political aisle that likes to go into hate speech a lot more, you know, the usage of their slurs and their heated gamer language. Didn't this guy get a cease and desist from Games Workshop because of how bad he was making Warhammer look? Yes, unironically, yes, it was pretty funny. He used to be called Arch Warhammer, and then they were like, yeah, don't associate with us ever again.
There's the issue. And now Grumps didn't know about this at the time. This came out a little bit later, in fact, and she also decided to block him. Now, fair enough, this isn't the most ridiculous thing, of course, because Grumps has a very large account, and I am sure that a lot of people that feel very strongly about wokeism in their games probably headed this woman's way, to be fair.
Well, I mean, at least he acknowledges that people get extremely riled up over, I'm gonna go with fear-mongering. The fear-mongering done about wokeism infecting everything, when in reality, wokeism, or what is woke, is literally just anything progressive. A lot of the conservative types, they don't like to say that, because it makes them look as deranged as they are.
Fair. She also elected to remove the Palestine flag and the trans flag from her bio as well, only keeping the LGBT flag.
I kind of feel bad about that. I wish she had just kept them because people like this, like Arch here, are going to consider that a win, thinking that they got one up on you, but I'm willing to bet her personal beliefs haven't changed one bit. It's just getting into a position of where she feels she's got to hide it, when in actuality it's way better to be way more upfront with this stuff, especially with a game like Helldivers, where you're going to have a lot of people with shitty media literacy who are not going to understand that, again, that Helldivers 2 is a satire of jingoism in Catherine's own words. But they're not going to understand that. They're just going to see you get a cool cape and we get a fight for democracy. And in reality, they're not actually spreading democracy. They don't know what they're doing. They just know they're killing space bugs. All that matters to them. They don't look deeper than the surface.
She also did this on her Helldiver account as a community manager, I have heard, which is a laudable stance. Okay, maybe my view here is actually not correct. Maybe I should not try to politicize.
Maybe my view is not correct. What? So, like, maybe the view of trans people existing is not correct? Is that what you're getting at? We exist, bro. You can't get rid of us.
This, maybe I just, shot my mouth off a little bit on the internet.
Oh my god, please don't politicize the game that screams about democracy.
Possibly. And she has also protected her account, which again isn't the biggest flag ever, because she probably did get some hate from this, because...
Probably? I'm willing to bet he knows exactly the kind of hate she's gotten.
As well, it's kind of...
The argument I've seen around woke is just a slippery slope argument about if we let them have this and they will want something else and something else. And it's just to discredit any discourse. All we want is to live. We just want to live.
Deserved. That's the problem. See, here's the thing. In a normal universe, we might be able to look at this and say, okay, you are banning bigots, transphobes, homophobe, racists, etc. Fair enough. If you've got actual racists on your Discord, well, that is definitely against Discord's terms of service. It's probably against the terms of service of your forum provider if it's the official forums, etc., etc. But that is not the meaning of the words. And the assumption is that if the policy is being applied fairly, then everyone is for it. And Grumps himself too says that the flags and the bios don't matter, which they don't. But this is also the very self-same group of people that have told us that everything is political and that nothing can exist outside of the political spectrum, which is also kind of reflected in the idea of Helldiver.
So policies don't affect most things in our lives? The majority of our lives are not affected by the outcomes of politics? Huh. I didn't know that. I thought we lived in the real world.
Is pretty woke. She is already projecting her political ideology onto the game, and Helldivers.
You're projecting your political ideology onto the game, and you didn't even make it, dude.
I would really struggle to describe Helldivers as woke. I mean, in this...
Why? In the intro trailer, the dude had a black wife with a mixed race kid. That alone is woke.
Case, why is it woke? It's because the people who worked on it is woke. So in her own words...
Okay, so it was made by queers and people of color. So by very definition, it's woke? Me? Oh my god. This is why I don't really cover his videos. It causes so much psychic damage.
Words, the political identity, not even the political identity, but the literal identities of races and sexualities of the people working on the game is already enough to politicize it in her eyes.
That's because the fucking culture war is focused on those people right now. Primarily in the US, trans people. But holy shit, there's a lot of it going around. I forget what I was about to say.
This is the problem right here. These are the people who have told us everything is political. Okay? If everything is political, and we see an agent of the opposing political ideology stating to us that they are banning what they define as the opposition to their political ideology, then it becomes...
Trans people want to live. Transphobes don't want trans people to live. Apparently, these are the same thing.
Becomes very, very difficult to assume that the rules are being applied fairly. And people are now undoubtedly going to start looking into Helldivers and their forums and their discords en masse, no doubt, to see whether or not these policies have actually been applied fairly.
No, most people are not going to be looking into shit about this. They're just going to listen to the talking heads on the internet that say the opinions they want to hear, and then just roll with that. They don't actually care about looking into things. I'm a tiny channel and I can recognize this pattern. I'm willing to bet this dude can. He just deliberately chooses to ignore it.
What is the ban records of these people? And frankly, the Helldivers devs should probably come out ahead of this and make some sort of announcement, releasing their ban lists and the reasons for those bans. If they appear justifiable, then good, fantastic.
What company or platform or game has ever made public ban lists? If they made ban lists public, you guys would just cry and whine about how you're causing how they're causing targeted harassment towards the people unjustifiably banned for saying the N-word.
Perhaps this is nothing. This might be a simple, massive old nothing burger. And
it is. It literally is a massive old nothing burger, because people like you can't understand the least bit of media, and you got to make money somehow.
Let her mouth get the better of her. In which case, you know what? There. That's fine. We all say stupid shit on the internet every now and then, and seeing as she has
I make a hobby of it.
Already removed the flags from her bio, which I consider to be a little bit of a goodwill sign, but at the same...
Told you, they see it as a win. Could be worse. At least you aren't covering Synthetic Man and his video on the Fallout TV series, which somehow obsesses over interracial marriages. Oh my god, the chuds know no ends, do they? To be honest, I haven't even watched the Fallout show yet.
Same time, I feel my blue-eyed naivete enforce itself upon my point of view yet again, as every single solitary time I have given this bunch the benefit of the doubt, it has bitten me in the arse, and so I am a pinch hesitant to do so even now, but...
Is he referring to the cease and desist from Games Workshop? Because that'd be funny if he was still seething over that. I wouldn't be surprised if he was still seething over that either.
Once more, in an ideal world, this should be seen as a sign of contrition. Going, okay, these are very, very politically laden things. They are controversial things. They present a very specific worldview.
Once again, killing aliens in the name of democracy is inherently political, whether you like it or not.
I'm going to just back off on that because I am the community manager of a game. I am not a political activist, and I'm simply just going to continue to do my job. That would be the ideal resolution to all of this. I suppose
Personally, I don't think so. I think the ideal resolution to all of this would just be to come out harder against those on the right that are, you know, thinking that Super Earth is the good guys, that there's, and hell, the people that just want to push back against the woke stuff, because it's a pretty good litmus test. If you're anti-woke, you're probably a shitty person.
We are going to have to wait and see, aren't we? But I really, really do hope that they stick to their guns on not making it political. I even said that in this very video, in fact, that we're gonna have.
I still can't believe he's taken that seriously. No politics, only democracy. I can't believe he doesn't see how that's dripping with satire.
Have to wait and see whether or not the developers are actually able to, you know, make good on their promises to ban both sides without getting affected.
You showed so many fucking screenshots of different things. Why don't you show where they directly said they were going to ban both sides? Or did I just miss that and I'm too stoned to realize it?
By external influences and quite likely internal influences as well. Again, the whole statement is pretty woke, etc. I don't know if I believe her necessarily, because there isn't any.
I don't know why people believe you, dude.
Sign of it in game, but if she is claiming that these other people as well were in on her ideology.
Like, one of the fucking tooltips is don't engage in diplomacy, fire first kind of shit.
Perhaps it is time that people take a little bit of a closer look. Though.
Holy fuck, I wish people would take a closer look at the media they consume. It would raise people's media literacy at least a tiny bit, and we desperately need that in the modern day.
Again, I dearly hope they don't find anything. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for listening, and I do hope to.
We're done here. Yeah, that was psychic damage. That was a lot of psychic damage. Me and the homies hug each other before we dive and have never once said no homo. If that's woke, then I don't want to be asleep. Respect. Synthetic Man also made the video where he obsessed over Ganon cucking Link in Tears of the Kingdom. What? I haven't played Tears of the Kingdom. I played, what was the one before it? That definitely sounds like something worth mocking, Andreas. Okay, I definitely expected a lot of psychic damage going into that. It was... that was a lot of damage. Oh, I should just definitely expect it more when going into that guy's video specifically. But yeah, Helldivers is inherently political. You can not separate, or you can't not have the politics with Helldivers. What is democracy if not politics? Like, for real. How do these people function? How do they remember to breathe? Why do they remember to... Okay. For real, I don't want anybody to get hurt. Don't want anybody to get harassed. In the whole 9 yards. But if you are going to criticize people, go ahead and criticize them. Just don't make it like personal attacks. You respond to what they have to say. Or at least as best you can, assuming you can understand it. Okay, I think that about wraps up this stream. We've been going about just under 4 hours. And it is approaching 11 o'clock at night for me. Thank you all for tuning in. It has been a fun one. So, until next time, Speaking of which, next stream is going to be on Tuesday, actually. I'm going to be having one of my close personal IRL friends come on stream, and we're going to scream at each other about Star Wars. Because we have big disagreements over one specific thing. Though I don't think the entire conversation is going to be about that, but I'm definitely pulling the pin on that grenade of a conversation because I've been wanting to for so long. Anyways, I will be out for the night. Again, thanks for joining. Have a good time zone wherever you're at. And remember, if you can't be the sharpest tool in the shed, you can always be the hoe.